Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here. It's Thursday Think Tank, and it's the live call-in show. So if you call me, you can get on the air and voice your opinions on today's subject. And today's subject is ESPN and other U.S. media sources and how they cover the Raptors and the way they talk about us. And, there's a bias. There's definitely a bias. And I have evidence of it. In fact, I want to start first with evidence piece number one of what I'm talking about right now. And it's this article here. And this is not ESPN that did this one. This is the Sporting News. And this is an article that's on yahoo.ca, which is intended for Canada. And this is what they're sending. And in some ways, I could lump this into this is just like anti-Canadian propaganda in some ways, too. So if you want, you can look at the link that I just posted. And you'll see the article that I want to break down for you guys right here. This is an article about Chris getting traded to the Celtics. But you'd have to really look deep to find out that's who they're talking about because of the way they word it. The article is written by an idiot named Caleb Hightower, who's obviously doing this for a reason. And the article's title says Celtics signed two-time NBA champion ex-Warriors forward to help Jaylen Brown. Ex-Warriors forward. Now, the thing about that title, if you look at that title and you think about it, they're saying that this player, they want the prestige of getting the player for the Celtics, right? Because that's what they care about. They want to make the Celtics look good. They want to make it sound like something's good for the Celtics. They're getting an two-time champion for the Celtics to help Jaylen Brown. So they put the championship stuff in there, even though Chris Boucher didn't play anything for either of those championships. But that's fine. He is a two-time champion. But then they put ex-Warrior and not ex-Raptor. Why do you think they do that? Because they put the word championship next to that word, and they want them to think, oh, Warriors champions. Well, the thing is, in Chris's rookie year, when he played for Golden State, he suited up for the Warriors on the real court exactly once. He had played one game for the Golden State Warriors in his NBA career. And they go put ex-Warrior on there just to avoid ex-Raptor on there. I mean, it's so stark and telling, the omission and the runaround to go around admitting that this man is a two-time champion ex-Raptor, that they're going to put two-time champion ex-Warrior traded to the Celtics to help Jaylen Brown. It's all in the lettering. It's all in the structure. It's all in what they want to put in the narrative. And they want to ignore that he's a Raptor. You can't do that. Everybody knows Chris Boucher's played for the Raptors the last 7 years. You go put him as an ex-Warrior for one game in his rookie year. It's crazy. And you could go into it more in the article. There's more bullshit about this in the they're going to basically say the things that anything that has to do with the Raptors, they're going to slight us. Celtics signed two-time NBA champion ex-Warriors forward to help Jaylen Brown, originally appeared in the Sporting News. Yeah, it's so stupid, man. And then you add in things like Shams posting an announcement about Chris going to the Celtics and him omitting that he's the all-time leader in points, minutes, and rebounds off the bench. He said the all-time leader in points and rebounds and minutes did not qualify with the bench. Well, I'll tell you, Shams, you idiot, you cocksucker, that, the all-time leader in points, minutes for the Raptors is DeMar DeRozan. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, DeMar. 36 years old today. Chris Boucher is the all-time leader off the bench for those categories. But Shams don't put that in there. And in some ways, that omission sends the wrong message to people that aren't smart enough to realize the facts. Because they can see Shams put this out. They say, I didn't know Chris was the all-time leader for the Raptors. Wow, that team must really suck if their bench player is the all-time leader in points. It's shit like that. It's subterfuge. It's gaslighting. It's half the truth. It's half the information. It's let's slight the Raptors in every single fucking way we can on pen and paper, writing about them. Let's slight them every single way that they can. Seriously, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Now, the other thing that's happened already, which is amazing to me, how quickly this has happened, is that Chris Boucher all of a sudden is a great talent. He's an amazing player as of 2 days ago. He's somebody that should be coveted and wanted on the NBA team, overlooked for most of his career on Toronto, but all of a sudden he's amazing. And this is what I'm going to talk about on ESPN's website, which is who we're talking about today. They have they graded all the moves this summer, and they've included Chris Boucher to the Celtics now and graded it. And this is what they said about it. Celtics trade Georges Niang and sign Chris Boucher. Grade A. Ooh, that's an A move. Getting Chris Boucher from the Raptors. Woo! What an A move. Oh my gosh. They are so convoluted and so favoritism. It's not that I'm trying to diss Chris here. It's just that, if we had traded and gotten Chris at this stage in a different way from somewhere else, that move would have been a C. C move for the Raptors getting Chris Boucher. They just kind of got a player, and I don't know what they're doing. That's what they would have wrote. But no, because the Celtics did a little bit of a salary dump and acquired Chris Boucher, getting rid of Georges Niang. They're going to give it an A. They're going to give it an A no matter what. Oh, that's an A move, getting Chris Boucher in Boston. It's so convoluted. It's so fucked up. It's so full of shit. And I honestly, that's why I tell Raptors Nation, don't listen to the mainstream media on us. In fact, there's a movement of people like me that are making content on YouTube independently that know the truth. There's all kinds of YouTube videos getting out by independent content makers, fans, people that love watching basketball and understand it. And they seem to be saying different things than ESPN, the Sporting News, and all these other bullshit sites that are corporate and fucking big. No, the independent YouTubers are saying the Raptors are sneaking up. The Raptors are making a silent rebuild. The Raptors are going to be sneaky good this year. The Raptors are coming back this year and making the playoffs. There's tons of people like me that see what we see with the Raptors and what they're building right now, and they're making independent media. And it's more truthful than the fucking ESPN bullshit that's out there at this point. I mean, in some ways, this is indicative of the news in general, is that the mainstream media is compromised by corporate interests and the fucking fascism taking over North America and the United States, that the people that should be relied on for more and more true news and better news is people like me. People that are on the internet and that you feel like you can trust because they have no reason to bullshit you and they're just going to shoot it straight to you. And in some ways, that's the world we're getting right now. That the mainstream narratives have always been kind of full of shit and corporate, but they're going in the wrong direction now because you're marrying corporatism with fascism. And you're really going to have to count on voices like mine. In some ways, I'm a basketball channel, but I'm not totally a basketball channel. No, I'm not. I'm a life channel. And there's a lot of things about life to be taught. And one of them is about sussing out media and when it's lying to you and when it's full of shit. And I'm just saying right now, mainstream media cannot be trusted in any kind of way because it's compromised by corporate interests, and they're going to feed you the line of shit that they want to feed you for whatever their end goal is. And, well, what's the end goal? Why they do this to the Raptors? Well, there's a couple. It's in some ways economics. In some ways, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a State Department official that has talked to the NBA a long time and said, you know what, we can't have the Toronto Raptors win another championship. This is a bad thing. The economic boom for Canada was too good. We can't have the Raptors be successful. So is there a way we can hold them down? We can hold them down in an information war. Let's just have all the main media outlets just dump on them all the time and talk shit about them and gaslight their fans to not be confident. And then hopefully it'll actually be true. Yeah, that's the best thing we could do. Let's just talk shit about them and put them down all the time and tell them who they're supposed to be. And hopefully in real life that'll mimic and they'll just become that. I think that's part of it right there, is that, championships are economic booms. And when we won in 2019, the GDP of Toronto and Canada went up. That's not a joke. That's for real. And in some ways, we know that fucking the world is all about this. and all about that. And in some ways, there may be people in the government of the United States that are actually saying we can't afford to have another Raptors championship in some ways for so stupid reasons. You know, it could actually get down to like, this is in America. You know, that kind of shit is real. And we're seeing it become more out in the open with the white Christian nationalism of the MAGA movement. It's like, oh, you're not American, then you're not good enough. Get the fuck out of our country. You know, they're not tolerant with the rest of the world. They're not friendly to foreigners. They're not friendly to immigrants. So why the fuck would they be friendly to the Raptors being in the NBA? You know, it's shit like that. You know, they didn't like how good we were. That's another thing. Part of this relationship is like Ed Rogers and Masai Ujiri. Yeah, a jealous, old, crusty, ugly ass, rich white guy who can't stand a charismatic, successful, very, very good at his job black man. Well, we're that Canadian team, and the NBA teams like Charlotte and other teams that have fumbled and done so bad for so long, teams like Wizards, teams like that, you know, they get the darlings up there as best as they can. Come on, Philly, do better. Joel, get your knee right. Boston, oh, I'm so glad Boston and Jason and them have done so well recently. Thank God, NBA people. You know, New York finally getting back off their ass and finally being somewhat competitive. That's all really music to their ears. And the Raptors being down is also. And in some ways, it's like the Raptors have defied their place that they want us to be in. They've defied it. We were supposed to be bad every year. Why do you think they predict us to be bad every year? Because they want us to be there. They want us to be down there. But we've defied them because we've gone badass under Masai and say, fuck y'all. We're going to win in Toronto. We don't give a shit what your narrative is and what you're trying to write and what you want in the NBA, Adam Silver. The Raptors are a successful organization that wants to be run right, and we're not going to have the dysfunction just because y'all try and put it on us. Y'all, we're not going to fall apart and do shitty things just because y'all want us to. No, we're going to do what we do, and we're going to weather the storm. We're going to sail this ship through a season in Tampa. We're going to sail this ship through an unexpected pandemic that interrupted the most successful NBA season for the Raptors ever. No, we're going to sail this ship through all this bullshit, and we're going to be better for it anyway and still be successful in the end. Because fuck y'all. We ain't lying down and letting y'all tell us that we're a shitty team just because your media heads want to write it. We're going to come and we're going to fuck y'all's teams up, all 29 other arenas. We're going to kick your ass because we ain't fucking around. We ain't fucking doing this to waste our time. Why the fuck do you think they're in Madrid right now? They're in Madrid to get better, to kick some major ass in the NBA this season under Darko. And they're going to, with Brandon Ingram's health being on the team. And they'll wake them up. They'll rattle some heads. They'll wake these motherfuckers up and show them, y'all don't fucking decide who the Raptors are. Y'all don't fucking tell us how bad we're going to be or who we're going to be. Because y'all don't fucking know us. Because y'all don't pay attention to us. And when we get accolades and we do good things, what do? You turn around and say, two-time champion ex-Warrior Chris Boucher. Yeah. You don't want to give no credit to us for when we went and got that in 2019. So I don't expect you guys to treat us fairly or write about us honestly down south on ESPN, the Sporting News, Bleacher Report, all your other bullshit sites and places. Your audience is the United States. Well, motherfucker, we read up here too, you dumbasses, and we can see what you're writing. And maybe you don't want to write for us. Well, you know what? You don't want to write for us when we don't need to fucking read your shit, is what I'm saying. Raptors fan nation, stop following them and parroting their bullshit. If you have listened to me in the first 13 minutes of the stream and you've heard how I've explained this all to you, and if you are a fan that thinks you're so knowledgeable at critiquing the Raptors all the time, realize you're programmed by this bullshit. Yeah. If you're an active ESPN, Bleacher Report, Sporting News reader or anything or watcher, you've been programmed to kind of on the down low self-hate your own team. And if you get involved in self-hating the Raptors, well, you have a mushy head and you fucking fell for that shit that they fed you is what you fucking did. Seriously, you a mushy head. You take that information in from ESPN and say, oh my God, they're right. The Raptors don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Oh no. Why am I a Raptors fan? They're gaslighting you, bitch. You're the one who fucking got in that headspace, a negative fan, and putting down our team from within. because they fucking mind controlled your ass, you sorry piece of shit. You were soft-headed, and you allowed them to put their narrative in your head. And then you fucking went and wrote a bunch of comments on Reddit and other places echoing them just because, well, it's ESPN. They have to be right. Motherfucker, they have not been right for 15 fucking years of Masai Ujiri being around. They've never been right about the Raptors. They never predict this right. That's why I tell Raptors fans every time, right around this time of year, well, it's a good time to put money down on the Raps, on the over, because they got to undersell us, underthink us, under predict us every fucking year. And that's easy money for Raptors fans that want to go get it. Just bet higher on anything for the Raptors on season win totals, and you will fucking get it. I'm telling you right now. You would have got it last year, I think. What was it last year? I think it was, yeah. You would have got it last year. So I'm just saying, understand there's powers out there that want to form the narrative and tell you what reality is. And in some ways, well, they hope that their reality comes true. But you know what? That's not the reality. They're going to find out. They're going to find out. Now, if you guys have opinions on the subject today, American mainstream media, Canadian mainstream media, there are problems. And well, if you want to call and give me a call on the phone lines are open today on the Thursday Think Tank call-in show. The numbers are available to members of the channel in different places. You can find the numbers on Discord, Facebook, and the YouTube channel in the community post for members. You can find the number if you want to call and have your voice heard on this subject today, which we're talking about the way they cover it. I mean, look at that article about Chris getting traded to the Celtics. They went so far around in mentioning the Raptors name with the word champion. So far around. They walked all the way around the long way and came around this way and did this that way. Yeah. Just to not put the word Raptors and championship in the same sentence. Oh, put Warriors in there instead. It's such bullshit, man. Such bullshit. It really is. All right, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. We'll get into the show today. Trevor J. with his words of wisdom to start right away. You are too blessed to be stressed, too grateful to be hateful. When life gets you down, you have to love a little deeper, laugh a little louder, and smile a little bigger. Give a little more, forgive a little quicker, hold the ones you love a little tighter, because tomorrow was never promised. Yee, man, sometimes Trevor's are inspiring and they kind of meander, and I'm like, oh, this is inspiring. This is great. And then at the end, it's kind of like grim. It's like, what the fuck? Tomorrow may not be promised. Man. Yeah, I mean, this is real stuff right here. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. I appreciate you, man. I do like the rhymes. Yeah, Trevor's saying this. The Toronto Blue Jays scored 45 runs in 3 games. Crazy kicking ass. Yeah. Yesterday, the Blue Jays played the Colorado Rockies, and it was 20-1. 20-1 was the score. I thought they had mercy rules. Maybe that's just in Little League or something like that. You get 10 runs up, they call the game, but 20-1. My God, whooping. I'm getting some good offensive stats, batting stats for them Blue Jays. Yeah, they really routed one of the worst teams in the league, the Rockies, in 3 games. Really crazy. Really, really crazy routes. Go on then, Blue Jays. Save some for later. You might need some of them runs later when you play further in the season, but it's a fantastic thing. I love it. Isaac Campbell is here. Good to see the benevolent one out of our nation's capital of Ottawa. It's because 1% of all of illegal fentanyl crosses the border from the north is why the ESPN media is so bad to us. This is what Isaac's blaming the fentanyl. Just like idiot orange fuckface and the wannabe king is saying that shit. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny, Isaac. Now the fentanyl thing is like all kinds of tropes around the right wingers. They're just using keywords and bullshit words to scare people. The fentanyl invasion from Canada is absolute horse crap. It has been the whole time. In some ways, it's a bullshit thing to use as a reason for some stupid whatever. It's kind of like, Trump, the way he was acting towards Zelensky that day in the White House. He's like, give me a reason so I can go off on you and yell at you in front of everybody and try and make myself look like a tough guy. Well, this is a bullshit reason for Trump to try and justify dumbass tariffs. It's like it's not even a phenomenon. It's not even a problem. The fentanyl trade or the fentanyl coming from Canada into the United States is very minimal. It's coming from other places way more than from us. And it's just absolute horse crap illusion to justify bullshit, is what this is. And there you go. There's the reality of it. The fentanyl thing ain't nothing, really. It's bullshit, and he's using it. It's kind of like when he said people were eating pets in Ohio. It's just a made up bullshit thing to fucking get people all riled up. That's all it is. James is here. Good morning to Raptor Freak James. We will surprise teams this year if we're healthy. I believe that. That is key. We do need to be healthy. But even if, and God forbid, even if we're not completely healthy, I think we can weather the storm because we have a lot of really good players. It depends on how much. Like if we're missing one key player for a time, we may be okay. But if we're missing multiple players, that may be a problem. I think that we have enough star power and depth on our team that we can weather some issues with people missing games. But we'll have to see how that gets managed by Darko and who it is and for how long. That can all have factors in it. But I agree with you, James. If we're healthy, we should be in the playoffs and we should be surprising everybody. All right, guys, I got my first call, and I don't think it's what we wanted. All right, so let's just see what it is. All right, hang on. Caller, you're on the air. You're on the live Raptor Freak call-in show. Hello.
Yes, hi. I'm trying to reach Vinay.
Vinay? Oh, I'm sorry, but Vinay has not had this phone number in almost over a year. This is a new person that has his phone number. You're talking to Lex on the Raptor Freak call-in show. You're live on the air with your audience.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Sorry to bother you.
Could you please take me off the no-call list, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There you go. First call of the day for Vinay. That dude owes a lot of money. I'm not going to lie. He must owe a lot of money because they call pretty frequently. I got a number when I changed my phone number last year that was Vinay's. And well, he's got a lot of untied business to untied up. But yeah, you guys got the first call there. That's kind of fun. We got a call that wasn't a call. And she was on a live call-in show. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's the key word, healthy. Seymour Sin, that's the key word, healthy. Listen, I still think, in some ways, look, and this is part of the reason why we have such amazing depth on the Raptors this year, is that, they're going to have to plan for some absences. That's just how it is in the NBA these days. So how do you weather it? I think that the fact that we have 3 or 4 really good players that are going to be sitting on the outside of the rotation most of the time, that when there are players that are out, like I said, we're going to have people stepping up like Mobo, like Oshai, like, AJ Lawson. There's different people that can be slotted up if people are missing, and we don't lose a lot of quality. That's the thing. We're very deep right now. We're like 12 deep with quality rotation players, and Darko only likes to play 10. So there's going to be good people that are going to be sitting every single night. And if there's people that are hurt, well, there'll be good replacements. Next man up is really good for this year. Next man up is really, really good for this year. That's right. Call-in show today. That's right, Seymour. You can call in just like that lady did just now, trying to shake me down. Vinay, where's our money? Where's our money, Vinay? They call like 3 times a day, seriously. And I know it's them because they have all the same area code whenever they call me. That's right. Seymour saying a homeless man is being labeled as the best rapper out of Atlanta right now, and I love it. Bring back talent. Who cares about how much money you got? I like that too. That's pretty interesting. Talent is talent. And in some ways, in a world of AI and fake and shit like that, man, natural, real talent may look so beautiful and amazing in contrast to the fucked up, like manufactured AI world that we're getting into. I watched a thing on the Phantom Menace yesterday, and they were talking about how it was so CGI. Everybody rejected it. Remember that? They were made such a hype in 1999 about the Phantom Menace, episode 1 of Star Wars coming out. And the fans came in and watched it, and they saw a whole bunch of computer graphics and a little kid acting like he's young Darth Vader. And they didn't like that movie. They didn't like Jar Jar Binks. They didn't like the CGI graphics, and they rejected it. In some ways, the fakeness of all that stuff is going to become more and more our world, guys, with AI and all this other bullshit that we'll strive to find real talent and beauty in realness. And hey, that's an equalizer for real and humanity. And in some ways, it's a detriment for the big, ugly, manufactured AI corporate bullshit. That shit should get rejected more and more. I'm seeing on Facebook more and more people saying, fuck this AI bullshit. Stop posting these dumb AI posts with these pictures and stuff. They look so stupid. No, I'm telling you right now, we at some point, generations after us may just live in a world where they accept it and it's around us. We need to fucking fight because there's certain things that we need to do to shape the future. If we don't do it now, it's going to change things in the future. And the grandchildren, great grandchildren, generations after us, it's just going to be normal to them. In some ways, we are a very important generation, the Gen X, and older, and just past us too, millennials, because we know what was like before all this shit is coming right now. And this shit's going to change everything. And in some ways, holding a grapple on the past and how it used to be so that we can tell the kids, well, it wasn't like this before, it may be very important because of how artificial this world will become. And realness may be very, very much valued. And it may be very lucrative at some point, trust me, in a world of fake and AI. I'm telling you right now, that's right. That's right. I love that, Seymour. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex and Rapid Free Crew. Good morning to you, Trucker Kaz, a man who's defeated me twice in fantasy WNBA this year. A crazy good job. This week, though, I'm doing pretty good to start against Fiercy. I've got about a 50-point lead on her. Kaz is winning his matchup, too, by 110 over James. JP's 25 over Edmund. And Logical's losing by 5 to Kareem. Very close matchup there. MK's got a good lead, a 75-point lead over Cool Cat in the other matchup. Of course, there are some WNBA games tonight. Atlanta is at Chicago. Angelica Suffren is the crew chief with Charles Watson and Biniam Maru. Connecticut will visit the Los Angeles Sparks with Eric Bruton as the crew chief with Blanca Burns and Ryan Sassano. And Indiana's at Phoenix Mercury. Tim Green, Randy Richardson, and Paul Toomey are the refs. 3 WNBA games on the slate today. Check out the games. Get your fantasy teams set. There you go. Good morning to you, Kaz. Always good to see the trucker in the chat. That's right. Seymour saying, bring back what's real, y'all. Can keep the fake. Exactly. I'm totally with this man right here on this. I'm totally with him on this. Y'all can fucking have your AI, your bullshit. Spotify wants to start making AI music all over the place. All the real artists are leaving. All the real artists are leaving. They're like, what is this AI shit you're doing? Everybody thinks they're a music producer all of a sudden because they can make Freddie Mercury sing Michael Jackson songs. This is fucking bullshit. This is not real music. This is not talent. And just like Seymour's saying, give me the real. You can have the fake. Yeah. In some ways, they're going to be crusty old men like me going into the future saying, fuck that AI. Fuck that shit. I remember when I was young and all this stuff. Yeah, we're going to be this generation for the next 30, 40, 50 years now going forward. That's just going to be how it is. The before people are going to be like, fuck all this bullshit. The young people that want to champion it and run with it and innovate off of it, you go ahead. That's your future. I will tap out. I'm not fucking going with you guys. I'll stay back here with my green screen Apple IIe from fucking 1984. And you motherfuckers can go forward with your crazy ass AI, fake world, fake noises, fake people talking, making it look like Obama said this, all that kind of bullshit you're doing. Yeah, you go ahead and do your fucked up world where truth is upside down and corporate fascism rules. You go ahead. You go ahead. Fake rappers with Ghost Riders, fake chicks with BBLs, fake lips like Mrs. Potato Head, fake food, fake government, fake bring back the real. I like that. That sounds like somebody needs to make an album about it. That right there. Maybe Nas, maybe Public Enemy gets out and does that. I'd love to hear Chuck D and Flavor Flav do a song. Bring back the real. Bring back the real. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Seriously. Bring back the real. Seriously, I want to see that shit. Where are the artists that have conscience and have artistic integrity? Can they come out and make this shit right now? And let's get a little bit of a rebellion in this. In some ways, the rebellion is already happening. People personally are rebelling. They're like, fuck this AI crazy ass honeybee picture. Why didn't you just go out in the yard and take a picture of the honeybees for real? No, you made an AI image of honeybees for your picture. Why did you fucking go out in the yard and take pictures? Oh, they're dead because y'all killed them in corporate fashion. You killed the honeybees, so you have to fucking make a picture of the honeybees on AI now because you fucking went too far. Anyway, this is fun. This is fun. Y'all are getting a little bit of a Friday freak out on a Thursday think tank. That's right. Chucker Cass, good to see you. Carlo JS, good morning to you, sir. James is saying Boucher's going to get minutes. Boston front court is super weak. This is probably true. I know I said yesterday there's no guarantee what Boucher is going to get, and that's still true too. But it's looking like the situation there will be pretty good for him for getting playing minutes. And like I said, this is a year where they're trying to kind of go this year on purpose. They're trying to go in Boston for seriously because they know Tatum's out and they're not full strength and they can't go a full out effort for the season. So they're going to fucking tank on purpose. I'm telling you guys, they're not going to be trying to win. And in some ways, well, Chris might help them too much. And they might have to bench him like the Raptors had to. Seriously, that could happen. That could happen right there. So he's saying exactly one game for the Warriors, man. Yeah, he played one game for the Warriors, and he's an ex-Warrior all of a sudden. Let's just erase all the years of being on the Raptors. What, like 8 years he's on the Raptors? They're going to call him an ex-Warrior. It just shows it. In some ways, it tells their inferiority in some ways because they have to hide us. They have to cover us up. In some ways, this is just like, I hate to say it, but once again, and I don't know this exactly from my own personal experience, but think about somebody of color who comes up in an office setting, in a company. They're kicking ass. It could be a woman. It could be, anybody from any background other than a white man, I'm saying. And they're coming up in the company and they do really good on their quarterly report. They do really good on sales, or they're having performance review that's perfect. They have all this good shit happening with them. And the boss is still like, I don't care. I overlook him. I don't care that they did all that. In some ways, I'm overlooking anybody who's not exactly like me and not praising them. That's the thing. I'm telling you, in some ways, this is that situation where we can have achievements, we can do well, we can be successful, and it gets overlooked because they don't want to look at it. Because in some ways, our success and what we're doing is a threat to what they believe and what they want. And it's a similar kind of mechanism to what I just described. You know how it is for people that do something amazing and get a great achievement and success, and people poo-poo it shit. They're like, oh, that's nothing. My little kid could have done that. He's a good drawer. Shit like that. That's what this shit is. It's that, they don't want to acknowledge the Raptors have been successful in the NBA as a franchise. They don't want to acknowledge that we've been as good as the Clippers, the Warriors, the Celtics, and a lot of other franchises in the last 15 years, that we have been up there with them record-wise and success-wise. The accolades all stack the same in a lot of ways with the top teams in the last 15 years as far as winning. They don't want to look at that. They don't want to shine a light on that. They'll overlook it. They'll poo-poo it. They'll run around the other way to the ex-Warriors line just to avoid it. And I'm telling you, that is pure. I don't know exactly what the word is. In some places, it would be discriminatory and racism. But in this case, it's I don't know if it's nationalism. It's just like anti this or this. It is what it is. We know the playing field. I'm not crying about it. I'm trying to explain the phenomena and the formula for what's happening so that we can understand it better and we can achieve and succeed against it even more better, just to piss them off even more. Seriously. Because every time the Raptors win, every time it's undoubtedly the Raptors being successful, they hate that shit so much. And they want to ignore it. They want to not have to report on it. I mean, look at how they treated after we won the championship. Nobody wanted to say the words Toronto Raptors NBA champions. Hardly at all. The year that we were the champions. Actually, we were champions for a year and a half because of a pandemic, which was awesome. We had one of the longest one-year reigns in NBA history because of a pandemic and a season that didn't end on the right time. It ended late. So we got extra time as the NBA champions. We got longer than the Celtics did in the last year. Yeah, we got longer than them. Yeah, we were champions for like a year and a half. Well, how long were you champions, Celtics? Oh, just for a year? Oh, that's too bad. We were champs for a year and a half. Yeah, because there was a pandemic and a bubble, and we had to delay the season. And they didn't give the new championship to the Lakers in a weird situation until like the fall. So yeah, if we're going by months, wow, we're better than y'all. We had the championship longer than y'all. Shit like that. But seriously, the omission, stuff like that Chris Boucher headline that I read at the beginning of the stream, it shows that they really are threatened by us. Seriously. They're really threatened by us, that they got to do shit like that. Seriously. All right, let's see. We got our first real call of the day. Hang on. Caller, you're on the Thursday Think Tank Raptor Free channel. How are you today, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. Infamous in the building.
Infamous. Yes, you said you were going to call me, and I'm happy that you came through. So how are you doing, Infamous?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I'm actually pretty good this morning. I got up a little late, a little bit just before the stream, so I'm still kind of waking up, but getting a lively tirade going will get me up. That's for sure.
Right. Well, salute to the Raptor family. Salute to all the Raptor freaks. Again, I'd like to preface this. I always like to preface this. The opinions expressed on this channel are strictly my own and do not correlate or connect with the host or any of the viewers
or the Toronto Raptors themselves.
Right. So I just want to start. I like to always start that off. But just getting on the topic, we've always been really disrespected by ESPN. I mean, ESPN has never really showed us respect. The only time that the Raptors have ever really gotten respect, if we want to be honest, is during the Vince Carter era.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
They were forced to do that because Vince Carter was such a phenomenon.
He was a marketing phenomenon.
Yes. Yeah. And they were literally forced to. Yeah. Because he became so big, he became like a rock star.
Yeah.
So they had to pay attention to us.
It's true.
They had no choice.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah, everything had to pay attention.
And in some ways, it makes you wonder if that status of him being so like gravitational with attention is part of the reason why things had to go south on the team in some ways. I mean, I can get conspiracy theory and start thinking, okay, Vince may be getting too big in Toronto with the Raptors. And not only is the front office of the NBA kind of like what they were like when they saw Kawhi win with us, they were maybe like also hockey establishment up here is like, this is too much. And from within our own team, people like Richard Petty, Rob Babcock being an idiot, getting hired by him is kind of maybe was on purpose to help the Raptors go to shit so that the fight for hockey to be on top and Vince making things too popular for basketball too quick. I could see it getting really unhealthy on purpose on the download behind the scenes to kind of drive what happened with Vince and his exit eventually. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think a strong part of it was definitely I think Toronto didn't know what they had at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? There was a complete mismanagement of how Vince was marketed, how he was taken care of. I mean, we all know the truth now. I mean, it's on both sides. I mean, Vince became such a superstar that, the ego became a little bit big, but it was also mismanagement on the other side where it's like, in my belief, this is my opinion, there was a little bit of racism there in the sense that, hey, stay in your place. We are in charge kind of thing. Almost kind of like what's going on now with Rodgers.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, we got to knock you down a peg.
Yeah.
You can't be too bigger than us. And they didn't know how to handle it at the time. Look at what happened to Isaiah at the time.
Yeah.
Isaiah was big too. Isaiah was doing a great job.
Yeah.
There was no reason to get rid of Isaiah at the time.
Right.
To be honest. So it's that, hey, we're going to show you who's in charge kind of a little bit of a supremacy thing to a certain degree.
I think that it's really kind of toxic that the sports people around the city, like sponsors and people that would be interested in investing in sports, were not interested in investing in the Raptors at first. But when Beethoven and Isaiah Thomas made the Raptors successful and a hit right from the start, all of a sudden they were like, yeah, we do want to get in on this. But part of the reason why they wanted to get on this and be involved with us at the Air Canada Center, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, the Leafs, and the Raptors owned by the same team is so that they could control the Raptors. and hold them down from within. And I really do believe Richard Petty's job was that in the MLSE during his tenure at that time. On the down low, this is the job description Richard Petty won't say out loud, is kind of cause dysfunction and toxic situations for the Raptors by not running them correctly. And this is why this team president job is so fucking important, Raptors fans, is we can't have an entity like Richard Petty around our team again. And if Kipeli and Ed Rogers hire somebody to be team president that's going to fight with Bobby and cause all kinds of toxicness, that's going to be a big, huge problem. But that is the kind of move that would be, that's why I'm paying attention to this so close, is because if they do this shit, it's on purpose and they're trying to fuck the Raptors up on purpose. We can tell if they do this, they hire somebody who's not good for this job. We can tell that's why. Go ahead.
Can I be honest? They have to, and I repeat, in my honest opinion, they have to give the job to Bobby. There's no choice, because here's the thing: if you bring in an outside source, right?
Yeah.
Remember, everybody's under contract. Everybody's already locked in.
Yeah.
How is it going to feel? You come in as a new guy. Everybody's already been hired. Everybody's already locked down. You're basically your hands are tied. There's nothing you can really do because everybody's already locked up. Are you going to fire Bobby? That's going to look ridiculous.
What do you mean by that? Like, you mean that you mean like trading people or signing people because everybody's pretty locked up and there's not a lot of moves to be made?
I'm talking the front office. Remember, before they fired Masai, they locked everybody. They locked the front office down already.
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah, they gave everybody their contracts and everything like that. So what happens if a new guy comes in and he says, "Listen, I want to make wholesale changes. I don't think Barnes is the guy, or I don't think
that would happen because in some ways that would be like totally ripping down the whole thing so far. I mean, that would be really chaotic and that would be bad if that happened.
But I'm saying a new guy coming in can't do that.
Yeah.
Because everybody's already locked down. And it's going to look ridiculous if he comes in and starts firing everybody.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. That may be extrapolating too far into like, what if this? Because I don't see, like, let's take it step by step. Because first we want to see if they can work together in a competent way. Ideally, my hierarchy for what they should do with the team president is this. I think that you're right. I think that the best move is to move Bobby up and Dan up and then hire a third person underneath as the assistant GM.
Yes.
That may save money for them, and also it'll put somebody underneath both of them so they don't have any power over them. And that means that in some ways Bobby's got to work with Keith Pelly more, and Dan Tolzman's the one making all the calls. In some ways I don't totally like that. Because Bobby's best position is actually the GM. His best position is actually GM because he's an astute businessman who's a wheeler dealer and he is not falling for bullshit trades. And he's been very, very smart in what he's done. So I, in some ways, like the second choice, which is getting somebody who's a trusted person who's already got an established working relationship with Bobby Webster and other people. And that's why I would say that Dwayne Casey would be fantastic for the job. Because we know, I really do believe we could trust Dwayne.
I don't agree with that one, but we agree to disagree.
Well, let's actually, since I've got you on the phone, Infamous, in a very respectful way, I'd like to debate this with you because I do want to hear the reasons why some people are not keen on Dwayne. And
I can tell you exactly why.
Okay.
No, the reason because you remember Dwayne. You got to remember Dwayne Casey. To me, this is my opinion. Dwayne Casey, in a sense, is kind of a yes man to a certain degree. Just my opinion. Right?
Maybe.
Also, you got to remember, Dwayne Casey is extremely stubborn. Remember, this was the guy that said Andre Bignani or high water. He's also the one that took Calderon over Kyle. Like his decision making and stuff has not been the greatest.
I would.
And I think Raptor fans don't want to retread, go back to that way of thinking, and go back to Dwayne Casey. Man, we've been there, done that. We've seen what it does.
All right.
What it's done.
I want to get each one because I feel like it's a little bit of misconception here. Casey's all right. He's not a stubborn guy. His problem is that he's slow to react in adjustment in the playoffs. And he totally chose Kyle over Calderon. So I don't know why you said that. Maybe in the beginning he was picking Jose at the beginning when Kyle wasn't working the right way. Like he had an attitude problem. And Casey kind of straightened him out as far as things. And then when he trusted Kyle, he made him more this point guard. But Calderon.
Kyle had to go to him to get them to play Siakam.
Well, yeah, but
said that out of his own mouth.
Yeah, but once again, Siakam, in some ways, his progress and his growth was coming either way. And I mean, whatever the timing is with that, everything worked out with Siakam anyway, right? It's not like there was an issue with Siakam not getting somewhere. Everything worked out beautifully. Yeah. So that kind of story, to me, I haven't even heard that before, that Kyle had to tell him. No, I mean, I would say that doesn't seem like something that matters, because seriously, where's the problem? Siakam didn't ever get messed up or stunted his growth. He got to where he got to anyway. And maybe the logical progression was happening anyway. And who knows? I don't even know if maybe at that situation, Casey was probably had an idea of how he wanted to bring him along, and Kyle was trying to speed him up. I don't know. I've never heard that story before, by the way. This is the first time I've ever heard that.
That's fair.
And honestly, to me, it doesn't really seem like it actually doesn't seem like it's totally I don't know. That's not really something to use. I would say this. A lot of people, because you said retread. The Bargnani one. What is that one? Okay, say what he said again.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want Bargnani here, or I won't coach.
No. He said it in the media, because I actually remember this press conference.
Okay.
He said Bargnani he said that we're playing Bargnani no matter what.
Yeah.
Remember, and he refused to go to a two big lineup. I mean,
when was this?
But it also shows his way of thinking.
He barely had Bargnani, and Masai traded him out pretty quick. No, listen, part of that is because the contract situations, and this is what we learned at the Raptors coaches open house. I asked Evo, why do you decide who gets to play on the team? And he said it's by contract. So Bargnani, if he was one of the higher paid Raptors, he has to play. That's why he probably said that. Because on the download, nobody talks about this. Sometimes the amount of time you get to play, or whether you're a starter, is your pay, is you're getting paid. And I think at that time, Bargnani may have been one of the highest paid Raptors. So it's like, in some ways, Casey saying that, maybe echoing, well, the owners are paying this guy this certain amount of money. We have to play him, you know? Or
but again,
yeah.
But it goes back to my original thing. This is why you have to promote Bobby. Because here's the thing.
Okay, you were calling him a yes man.
You can't. How are you going to bring in Casey and put Casey as the president and leave Bobby as the GM? Bobby, if I was Bobby, I'd be extremely insulted.
No.
No disrespect.
Bobby's not like that. Listen, I would. He's not. He wouldn't be insulted. First of all, Casey's 68 years old, and Bobby is 45 years old. The man's over 20 years older than him. In some ways, seniority does matter. In some ways, the fact that Casey played further in basketball and has a way more vast basketball experience than Bobby in certain ways matters. And the other thing that matters also is that Casey has front office experience. A lot of people are rejecting Casey partly because they only think about his coaching stuff. His coaching is very successful. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of people think he's not successful in coaching, which is wrong. He's absolutely successful in coaching. The thing is, though, they're taking a lot of the energy they feel from him from the coaching time with the Raptors, and they're applying it to the job description that he's going into, which is not applicable. It's not applicable.
No, that's fair.
And then second, as far as the yes man thing, listen, we may need him to be a little bit of a yes man in that position, because the team president position is in some ways interference for the ownership between Bobby and the ownership. So basically, we may need Casey to kind of bullshit Pelly to keep him off of Bobby's back while he's trying to do the GM stuff. And I think Casey could do this really well. And the other thing is, Casey has worked with Bobby for a long, long time. They worked together for 8 years. So they already have a working relationship and respect. That's fine. So that's the only reason why I think that he would be great, because we know he's got chemistry within our team already. He's familiar. And honestly, the biggest thing that matters to me about this position is trust. And you could get a bigger name person like Bob Myers or Chad Buchanan.
Oh hell no! Ooh,
but would we trust them? Would we trust them?
Bob Myers comes in. I guarantee you, if you hire Bob Myers, first of all, if you hire Bob Myers, you're gonna have to pay him a lot.
Yeah.
To come here.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, he's making sweeping changes if he comes in.
He's probably not trying to help us either. Like, where's his inclination or loyalty or want to help the Raptors? He's a Warriors person, and he hates the Raptors. He talks about us on TV and hates us. Like, he's played his card.
He's making changes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would never, ever make that hire. He's not a good hire for this job. So it sounds like the three things that are probably going to happen are either what we're saying, Bobby gets bumped up. They hire Dwayne Casey, or they're going to hire somebody underneath somewhere. I don't think that Bobby should be bumped up, though. I think he's too young for this. I think he's too young. No, listen to me. He's too young. And I think that one of the things that the biggest problem with this Masai firing is we lost a very, very plus person in a position that was absolutely badass and maybe the best at his position in the whole entire league, right? That's already a loss. We have a very good GM at the GM position right now, but if he bumps up, that changes. And who's to say if Dan Tolzman is going to be as effective GM as Bobby Webster? In some ways, Dan Tolzman's a nice guy. He's a little mousy, but he may not be the tough negotiator that Bobby is. And in some ways, it may be way smarter to leave Bobby at his proper age position, which is GM, because he's got a lot of years of doing GM. GM is like hard work. It's on the phone constantly. It's a young man's job, and he's still young. Casey's too old to be a GM in some ways because it's a lot of work. In some ways, he's good at being an administrative guy, kind of in between a leader and a buffer between Keith Pelley and Ed Roger III and Bobby Webster and Dan Tolzman so that they can do their job. If that's all he does, he's worth the job. He can basically say, Keith, I'm sorry, but you keep coming down and bothering Bobby while he's trying to do his job. We're doing basketball stuff here. You want to let the basketball people do the basketball stuff, right, Keith? Oh, you're right, Dwayne. All right, I'll leave him alone. That's all we need him to do. We need him to do that. We need him to help with administrative stuff from the top as far as like, but in some ways, Casey may not even be totally in charge. He may be kind of a figurehead. He may be just a middleman in the power struggle. And in some ways, he may be very good for this because he may be able to massage the relationship between the owners and the front office, because that's the most important thing about that job is massaging the relationship so that Rodgers and Pelley are not fucking with how we run our team. He has to run interference. He's basically a run blocker for a running back on a football field at this point. He's got to run and get Keith Pelley on his arm and push him back as Bobby runs through with the ball to the end zone. So,
but here's the thing: we're looking at familiarity, right? Bobby's been with our franchise since Masai's pretty much been here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the GM, to me personally, I think the GM and the president thing is kind of. It's a working relationship. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a symbiotic.
It could be a little redundant sometimes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry?
It can be a little redundant sometimes where both the job descriptions kind of cross over.
They kind of blend. Yeah, they kind of blend together. So that's why I'm not worried about the age thing that you were referring to. I do understand it. You do want, but the thing is, here's the thing I'm looking at. Remember what Pelley said. He said he wants somebody in that position who's very analytical, who knows the day. Who's more analytical than Bobby? He's been crunching the numbers. He's the number cruncher guy. So,
well, he's a salary cap expert, which has absolutely been amazing for us. He's done such a good job of fitting things under the salary cap over the years. People don't give him enough credit for that because honestly, it's not something that most fans will pay attention to or be astute to. But he's a capologist. And that's another reason why I would say he needs to stay where he is, because this is the thing. The team president job is more a figurehead job. It's not actually in the trenches as much as the job he's doing. And that's why I would be like, man, no, we need Bobby in the GM spot because he's negotiating. He's on the front line negotiating. And it was really kind of like Masai was signing off on stuff, And the other thing is with Casey is Casey has a deep.
Do this.
Go ahead.
I think the best option is then to leave. This is what I think they'll do. This is just my personal opinion. Leave the president position open and see what Bobby does this year.
Yeah.
I think that's the move I think they're going to make. I think they should leave it open. In my opinion, leave it open, leave it vacant.
I didn't think they needed to hire a replacement anyway. They're not going to hire a replacement for Brendan Shanahan for the Leafs. Then why the fuck do we need one for Masai if you're really cost cutting? You just want to, like, in some ways, I think it's just Ed Rogers trying to say, oh, you can be replaced, Masai.
Exactly.
And that's all it is. But like,
tinfoil hat theory. I think him hiring Casey would be a slap in the face.
I don't think it would be, though. I don't think it would be. Because this is the thing. Casey and Ujiri are friends. They're not at odds. People act like they hate each other, but they don't. Just because Ujiri fired him doesn't mean that Casey has a grudge against us or Ujiri. It's really that Casey understands the business. He's a grown man. And in some ways, you know, he can look at the whole thing and he can see Masai's importance in certain ways as an executive breaking the glass ceiling in certain ways. And he really respects that. And he really, like, in some ways has Masai's back in certain ways that you may not totally understand in some ways, because he's done interviews I've heard where he glowingly talks about Masai, where he says things like, I'm really proud of the job that Masai has done up here. When they won the championship, it was really something. It was amazing. You know, he's not a hater. He's not holding a grudge. And he's not. In some ways also, he would understand Masai and how he working underneath him more than anybody else. And in some ways, he would maybe even sit in that spot being like, what would Masai do? And I'm going to try and mimic some of the things that Masai would do with Bobby to help Bobby continue that relationship, even though Masai's not here. I'm telling you, he's the best choice. Because listen,
we can agree to disagree.
And people that say retread, that's not the right word for this. Because he's not coming back to be our coach. He's not coming back to be our coach. And he has a proven track record of success every stop he's gone to. He won a championship.
I'll be fair. We can't gloss over the Minnesota years, though. Come on. We can't.
Well, that was his first. All right, listen. That was his first ever coaching experience. And in some ways, the situation was not conducive for success anyway. If you look at the roster and what was going on in Minnesota. I think that you could have had anybody in that position and they would have been in trouble. That's 1 out of 4 of 4. And the other 3 are absolutely successful. Championship assistant coach with Dallas. And also he was very much an assistant coach on the Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Seattle Supersonics in that era. So he was around successful Sonics playoff runs. Didn't get totally there. And the Raptors getting built up to the championship is completely his credit. I don't give as much credit to Nick Nurse as other people. And then Detroit's rise recently in the last 5 years, he can be tied to that also. So yeah, I'm just saying.
That's exactly where I was going. I was saying that, to be fair, I'm not a fan of, I understand you're a fan of Casey. And that's understandable. I'm not a huge fan of Casey. I respect him laying the foundation for this team.
Yeah.
And you're right. He did do a great job. I think he did do a great job in Detroit.
And what he did in Detroit and what he did in Toronto too before is he was really good person around young players that are developing. Like part of the jumps for Cade and those young guys in Detroit, the original bench mob happened under Casey. And what do we have on our Raptors right now? We have a young burgeoning core, a possible bench mob 2.0. And Casey coming back into our brain trust and being around our team is good because he's good with the young players like this and adding things to help in some ways. I'm telling you right now, it's a home run idea. I know a lot of people are just saying, no, he's somebody who was here already. We fired him as a coach of the year. That says something, all this kind of stuff. He had his limits as a coach, and we got right up to them. We butted right up to that limit, and we saw it, and that's what happened. But let's not get it twisted. In some ways, the position he's going into, if he does get this job as team president, is a totally different kind of animal. And in some ways, we won't have to rely on him to make quick decisions. In some ways, we will have to rely on him to be a steady guiding force of leadership and a buffer. And honestly, the biggest thing that Masai ever did for the Raptors is that we could trust him, that he had undying loyalty for our team and we could trust that every single thing he was doing every day was in the best interest of our franchise and fighting for our equality in the league. And I feel like Casey has that level of commitment and love and trust to our team, even though we did him wrong and fired him the year before we won a championship. That's something right there. That's a different kind of loyalty. When you see a guy come back around like DeMar DeRozan or Dwayne Casey that lost out on a championship opportunity, and they still have glowing things to say and respect and love for the things they accomplished on that team that they were on. Because, Casey, he made his coaching career here in Toronto. In some ways, that's true. And all the success, the winning, I really do rate him very high. I don't understand why you don't like him.
No, it's nothing personal against him. I think he's a great man. He's a great person. He's a great leader and stuff like that. I just don't like him for this position because of his part of it is because of his track record and his stubbornness. I
feel like this isn't even accurate though.
And I just don't see him in that position.
Like if you guys actually go out back and watch a lot of Open Gym with him involved, go back and watch some of the Raptors Delight, Dark Side of the Raptors that came out last year. If you can see the behind the scenes footage around Casey, he looks like a gruff guy who's yelling and like really mean and stuff, but he's not. If you actually heard his voice and when he's talking to people, he's very, very much got a good bedside manner as far as a coach. I think that he's been characterized as this stubborn, hard-nosed, very not getting along with people. That's not true. That is not true. He is a very good player coach. His players love him. He's a great person. Yeah. In some ways he holds people accountable that maybe he does that. But and then the other thing is like, look, if he was somebody who was stubborn or not easy to work with, why wouldn't Masai have fired him right away when he came in as president? Because he was Colangelo's coach. And he held on to him for another 6 years past when he.
You know why? Masai had a very good personal relationship with him. And Masai Masai said it even in the press conference. He wanted to keep giving him chances because he really didn't want to get rid of him, but Casey kind of forced his hand.
Well, before he did get rid of him, there were many years where he was like, and this was a lot of talk in the press too. Doug Smith would talk about this. Is Casey going to get fired because he's Colangelo's hire and Masai's here now? And Masai kept Casey, Colangelo hire on for 6 years after he came in. So he could have easily said, you're not the person that I hired, but I think you're doing a good job. I respect you. You've done a fantastic job and you keep going. But then we got to that place where he did not adjust quick enough in the playoffs and we lost. And in some ways, that's not even Casey's fault either. In some ways, you could hear the interviews where he's saying LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James. And that's the reason that everybody was not successful in the Eastern Conference in the 2010s. I mean, that's exactly the reason. And it's like everybody thinks Casey's a failure. I just say LeBron James. you know?
I put some of it on LeBron, but then as Raptor fans and also basketball people, there were certain games and certain adjustments. You were like, he was basically.
What's he doing?
Yeah, he was doing it. You kind of said, wait a minute, you're not making no adjustments here. He's not quick to make adjustments on the fly.
That's true.
That in the playoffs.
That is true.
I think Darko is going to be amazing.
I hope so. I think he will. I think he will too. I think you're right.
Because he's very flexible.
I
can see the adjustment. I've seen adjustments that he's made.
Yeah.
That are just like, damn, in the middle of a game, boom, timeout. Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Darko get to like playoff basketball and see how he works in that environment. I'm very excited to see that kind of stuff, and hopefully that will be happening this year.
This team this year, I'm disappointed. Again, you know me, I'm a Messiah guy. I'm very disappointed, but I'm very excited about this team.
Yeah, me too.
This year, and I think one of the things that's got me excited. What is one of the major problems with the Raptors? When we're going to go through injuries, right? Yeah. Every team goes through injuries. The thing is, how can you absorb those injuries? And I think this year we have a team that can absorb injuries.
Well, let's hope there's not too many of them. But
let's not hope there's not too many. But we got a team this year. We got a solid bench. And we got for example, I'll give you an example. Quickly, let's say Quickly goes down. We know there's going to be injuries, unfortunately. It happens to any team, right? Players are going to go down. Quickly goes down. We have a comparable backup in Shed that can take that spot.
And we have a depth chart coming back underneath them, like Elijah Martin, Chucky. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's true. We have a good depth to weather absences possibly this year. And hopefully they're not extended periods of time or too many. And that's what I'm worried. I don't want any of that kind of happen. All right, I'm going to wrap this up, Infamous, because, man, we had a really good debate, a respectable debate. We saw two sides of it. And I appreciate hearing your side of it because in some ways, we want the well-rounded side to it. And we'll just have to see how they decide things,
Right. Can I end this on one thing?
Sure.
I wanted to talk, actually, we need to talk about Chris Boucher, but I can talk about it. We'll talk about it.
No, we can do it now. It's cool.
Okay. Let me go on my little rant about Chris Boucher. I'm very insulted when I hear not on your channel, but I hear another channel, oh, he was just a role player. He's just this, that. People don't understand. Chris Boucher is the last player to connect us with the championship season.
Yeah.
He's the last player out the door. What makes me upset about the Chris Boucher thing is that he walked away. We literally let him walk away for pocket change.
Yeah.
You could have. I love the Raptors, but sometimes the Raptors need to be called out on certain things. You telling me it's poor asset management. You're telling me you cannot work contracts in a way that you cannot absorb $3.3 million. I mean,
I'm going to say this right now. He could have been absorbed here. Yeah, for sure. We could have done it. We could have done him instead of Sandro. We could have done him instead of somebody else. We could have definitely fitted him in. We did not want to.
Yeah, but here's the thing that people may not know. Boston traded George Niang to, I think you believe, the Jazz, right, for $8 million. They got rid of. Remember, Boston is basically shedding contracts.
Right.
They got rid of Niang to bring in Chris Boucher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's an upgrade. And they shed money to do it too, which is pretty impressive in some ways. Yeah.
And this is the part that insults me the most. The part that insults me the most. Chris Boucher did every single thing the team asked of him and never complained.
We don't know that for sure, though.
Aside for the young guys, he said, "Okay, we're gonna sit you. We're gonna play the young guys." Never pouted. Every time he got into a game, he gave 110%, even though he was being treated bad. We all saw that.
All right.
A little bit unfair.
Let me just real quick. Chris's career with the Raptors was very successful. Chris's career with the Raptors had different periods with different kind of usage. And in some ways, it's just how the NBA is. I mean, look, I love Chris too. I have a special affinity for him. I think he's a Raptors legend, all this kind of stuff. But we can't let our love and affinity for players overvalue what they deserve and what they did, this and this. I feel like this is happening with Chris. I feel like, once again, we don't know if he didn't complain or not. He might have been complaining behind the scenes. We don't know. There's also been overtures that part of the reason why he didn't play was because he broke team rules. I've heard that could have been a rumor on the download. We'll never know because in some ways that's behind the scenes stuff like that. There's so much more to the story than we know. And in some ways, we only see the tip of the iceberg. And I would say this, the signs that he was not going to be going forward with Darko were coming 2 years ago. And the fact that we honored his contract with us, he played all the way through with us. This is all that matters, is that he got paid and we honored our contract with him. We didn't waive him. We didn't trade him out of the blue somewhere, which we probably could have at some points. As far as asset management, we got a lot out of him for a long, long time. And in some ways,
you see the contradiction though, Lex. If these rumors came out that he was a problem, right? Then why did you keep him? You see what I'm saying? So
I don't think he was a problem.
Money you on the way out.
I heard from an inside person that he broke a team rule at one point and he had to sit. And this kind of makes sense because in the past, we got to remember he got put in Nick Nurse's doghouse a couple of different times over time too. And there's always been kind of a push-pull relationship with Chris and his coaches, as far as the coaches come around him and say, Chris, we need you to play harder and do this more. And he wakes up and then he does it. And he's even publicly said, I like coaches that actively criticize me because I get better this way. And in some ways, he respected Darko for being like that with him. It's a complicated situation. It's not so black. It's not so black and white that we can just say the Raptors are wrong or this is wrong or this is this. It's business. And in some ways, the Raptors.
I have to call them out on this because here's the thing, Lex. You're telling us that you want to compete this year for a playoff spot and potentially make it to the Eastern Conference. How are you going to say we're trying to compete and we want to compete and we definitely want to make the playoffs, and you get rid of a vet for a minimum contract when you're trying to compete
because
unproven talent?
Like I said this week,
that doesn't make sense.
It may not make sense in some ways, but you got to understand all the players are different parts and different kind of players and different packages. And Chris Boucher's package does not really fit Roy Yakovic's kind of way of playing. And in some ways, that's why. And also, in some ways, I would argue this. We upgraded at that position because we went and got a true center in his spot named Sandro Mamu. Sandro Mamu's in Chris's spot. And in some ways, we got a big legitimate center to back up Jakob. If Jakob goes out, Chris Boucher's not playing center for us like Sandro Mamu is. So I would say,
saw Chris as a center, though.
But that's what we need at that spot, right? In some ways, maybe part of the reason why we've been low-key not having enough centers on our team is because we've had Chris around the team kind of slotted in that spot as not totally a center, but half-ass a center. And I feel like that's actually an upgrade. That's good management. In some ways, you're nostalgic. You hold on to players too long. You keep them too long. You overpay them, and they're just not doing the same things for you at a certain point. And in some ways,
3.3 million, Lex. I mean, come on, Lex.
I don't disagree with you, but once again, it's not about the money. It's not about the value. It's about the fit and the idea that Darko doesn't want him on our team. And I think that's the main thing right there, because Darko wants people that will pass the ball all over the place. And Chris is a black hole. He gets the ball. He shoots it almost every time he gets it. It's the same reason why Gary Trent had to go.
To be fair, that is the old Chris. Chris was conforming. Chris was doing exactly what Darko wanted him to do.
But let's not get it twisted. Chris is not a natural passer. You know that's true. In some ways, he can do all the skill building and trying to get better as a passer all of a sudden just to save his skin on our team. But he's not going to get to a level.
You got a guy on the team right now that doesn't. What's his name that we brought back? That's never going to play. He's sitting on the bench.
Oh, Garrett?
Huh?
Garrett?
Yeah. No disrespect to Garrett. I love
Garrett's on the team for non-basketball reasons. He's on the team for leadership reasons. And
but I'm saying Chris is also a vet and a leader and has championship DNA.
Listen, we've got to trust. This is a case where we've got to trust Bobby, and by default, Masai too, that this is what they wanted to do. They had slot this. This was part of the plan. In some ways, all the overtures are this. We're just being sentimental right here. We're just being nostalgic. We're just having a favorability for somebody we like. I get the whole tie to the championship. I understand that. I feel it too. But in some ways, we also got to move on and go forward in the future. I know there's a lot of huge Chris fans. I hate that he's on the Celtics. But in some ways, he didn't have a place. He didn't have a place on the Raptors anymore. And this is just naturally what was going to happen. We could have done everything.
They should have traded him, though, and get him into a spot. Because I heard he was waiting for the Golden State situation to drop. That was the rumor.
I could see that, waiting for Al Horford.
Put him in an ideal spot. I don't agree.
Either way, we don't know exactly everything that's going on. Once again, the GM stuff that happens in this league is on the moon. And we can't know all the proprietary information about what exactly is going on with negotiations and everything like that. We kind of just have to look at it from the outside, see the results, and kind of just like, oh, that it is. Listen, I understand you're upset, Infamous, that Chris is not a Raptor anymore. I am too, but in some ways, I'm ready to move forward and go forward because I'm excited about this year's team. And I really, we can't keep everybody forever. And that's just part of it.
I'm disappointed how it was handled. I'm disappointed.
We don't know how bad or good it was handled behind the scenes. Bobby and them could have been talking to Chris this whole time, and he was in the loop. And everybody out on the outside is reading into it from their own emotions on it instead of actually knowing the truth about how it was handled inside. Bobby and Chris.
You said yourself that they literally. Let's be honest, Dyson. You know this. They tanked his value, though.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, because they are actually saying at the end of the season, if we played him, we were going to win. If they tanked his value, well, ESPN ain't listening because they're talking about how he's one of the biggest, hottest free agent signings of the summer. I mean, seriously, I don't buy this. I don't buy this. Everybody knows who Chris Boucher is as a role player. Just because he didn't play at the end of the year doesn't mean that people didn't know he was. So.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, I don't want to hold up your.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Infamous. What a great call today, man. I really appreciate a great conversation here. I miss Chris too. Yeah. And I really appreciate that you came on the air with a stance that was different than mine on Casey so that we could explore more about that subject. I really appreciate that. So
I appreciate you and I appreciate all the Raptors fans.
Awesome, man. See, that's how you do it, folks. That's how you respectfully disagree. And there's no hard feelings. That's how we can do this in this world, y'all.
Yes. Much love to you. Much love to you.
Much love to you also, Infamous. Yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. Let's get this summertime while we can, right?
Yes, great.
Yeah. All right, man. I hope you'll call me again very soon in the future on another Thursday Think Tank Infamous. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yes, peace.
All right, let's go Raptors. Woo!
Let's go Raptors.
That's right. Awesome. Yeah, this week has been is tough. Saying goodbye to Chris is tough for sure. You know, Chris has no ill feelings towards the Raptors. Let's go look at his Instagram real quick because it'll tell you. Toronto Tempo's got Victoria Mboko on blast as the finalist at the former Rogers Cup. Is really, really cool. She's getting a lot of attention for being a phenom suddenly in the tennis world here. And, Lou Dort is all about it. In fact, he had to go and check out her, and he went and got a picture with her. So Lou Dort, the champion of the Oklahoma City Thunder, has gone and seen Dominique, and just champs supporting champs is what he's saying. That's pretty cool, man. I like that. I like that a lot. Lou Dort enjoying the tennis in Canada. And Emmanuel Quickly has got a nice sunrise up in Madrid, Spain, is what he's posting. He's got a performer on the street playing cello. And man, it's beautiful. Like you're walking the streets of Spain, you will hear beautiful classical music being played. And Emmanuel Quickly likes music, and he will post that music. I'm telling you right now. There's Bruno Fernando warming up with Team Angola because that's where he's doing. He's going to be playing some qualifiers for Team Angola and some FIBA Africa qualifiers. There's Sandra Mamu wearing the G League San Antonio jersey. It's somebody's birthday. It's a close friend of his named Dati. Dati's turning 30 today, I believe. So he's got a couple pictures of his friend Dati and him out at a restaurant having something to eat. There's Eugene Omoruyi back on the court, putting in the daily deposits, working on his game in the offseason. You love to see it. Jeff Landicho is celebrating his father getting into the Ontario Hall of Fame class of 2022. Wally Landicho forever is what's going on there with the producer of the Open Gym. Yeah, good stuff there. I like that. Serge Ibaka is campaigning to tell people to end the genocide in Congo. He's got a very sad picture posted on his Instagram. And I like that Serge is political. Go ahead and use your platform, Serge. In some ways, you can get your voice out there to a lot of people, and you can hopefully make a difference. So he's advocating for ending the genocide in Congo on his thing. There he is with his friend, Afrikix. And he's like smiling. And where in the world is Serge Ibaka right now? He is still in Santo Domingo. He's in the Dominican Republic. He's at a very fancy dinner with his brother and some guy who looks like Rick Martel. He looks like Rick Martel from wrestling. Kelly Olynyk's wishing a birthday to a friend of his too, Didi. I don't know who Didi is. He's just some dude. Happy born day. The sleepiest man is what he's calling him. Is the sleepiest man. I don't know. It's pretty goofy. Let's see. Savannah Hamilton taking pictures with, who is that? Leah McNabb. Okay, Leah McNabb. And let's see. Savannah is at some sort of talking function. Ooh, she's eating raw oysters. Savannah's got them raw oysters. Okay, Savannah. Some other good food there. Wow, she's eating nice. Elijah Martin's got an old clip from him. The We Love You, Elijah, when he came back to town recently and had a little event coming back as a Raptors draft pick. And yeah, he's over in Spain though, but he's got a little mini movie of his celebration there. Let's see what else. Jacoby Walters got a picture of him walking in the streets of Madrid with the long shorts on right there. Norman Powell, the Understand the Grind gear with Team Jamaica is on blast. Go get it. You can buy it right now. If you want Team Jamaica Understand the Grind gear, Norman's got it for sale. All right, this is the coolest. The coolest thing on Instagram today is Grady. Grady is so cool, guys. First of all, he's got a picture of Carla, his girlfriend, on a boat. And she's looking very classy. She's looking like she's all stylized, like Lana Del Rey, sitting on a boat, looking like a queen of her kingdom. Yeah, but the next clip is hilarious. Grady and the Raptors yesterday went to Real Madrid's soccer field, and they were practicing soccer just for fun. And Jacoby took a kick and he missed. He was kind of goofing around. But then Grady took a goal shot, and he placed the ball like a real soccer player does, perfectly up in the corner with a nice curve. And everybody went, oh, all the Raptors are there. We see Scotty, we see Elijah, Chucky Hepburn, Jonathan Mobo, Sandro Mamu, all these guys running around on the field. And Grady kicks his kick into the goal, and then he does a flip and then another flip right in a row. And it absolutely makes Scotty go crazy. Scotty jumps up when he sees Grady do the flips, and he's running after him like he did Emmanuel in that game last year after that one play. And all of them are going crazy. And Grady runs around and does like a victory lap, high-fiving everybody, like A.J. Lawson, Jim Sands laughing his ass off in the back. We see Dr. McKechnie's out there too. It's so good. I love those kind of clips that happen like that because you kind of like slow it down. I really slow it down and analyze it like the grassy knoll. And I was like, oh, who all is in this video? I want to see who's there. It looks like Brandon's there too. I did see Brandon Ingram in that clip where Grady kicks the soccer goal. Let's see. We got the next call on the Thursday Think Tank Calling Show. Caller, you're on the air on the Thursday Think Tank. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's going on? Seymour Pate from Alberta.
Central Time calling in right now from the province of Alberta. How are you, sir?
That's Mountain Time. Central's like Manitoba.
Central Mountain Time. Mountain Time.
Yeah, Mountain Time. So I got four things.
Okay.
One, going about ESPN, yeah. It's normal for them to be like that towards us because one, we're not their product.
Yeah.
We're the one team that is not their product. So it's like Wendy's coming out talking about a McChicken burger. You know, they can't talk about the other stores' products, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
so would you say it's TSN's product?
Right, yeah, we're TSN Sportsnet. And you know what the thing is with copyright infringement stuff? If you go in on a certain team, you can be held liable. Like, I know it's petty to do it, but you never know. You know what I mean? And ESPN might start glazing us, and then who knows how Ed Rogers or how them dudes might take it and try something. So I think they're just doing it because we're not their product. They don't like seeing fans on the other side of the state's line, you know, repping for us. Because look at the Blue Jays have it. They're going to all these other places, and the whole stadium's looks like it's Canadians in there.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
You there?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's true that part of the reason is that the Canadian audience and the Raptors fans aren't necessarily their target audience or in the whole thing, the realm of ESPN, but it's silly because they should know that their coverage is up here. We see it. And in some ways, my argument's always been, if you're a reporter of the NBA, and this is the way I was taught when I was a kid watching CBS and TNT, is you're supposed to cover all the league. If you're an expert on the NBA, you should know all 30 teams and all the players and be an expert on all of it. And there's so many jackasses that are on ESPN and other places that are paid lots of money to cover the NBA, and they're not knowing the whole complete product. And that's the thing that bugs me is that they're like, okay, well, Canada's not really part of our market. So why do we even pay attention to them? Why do we even study them? Why do we even investigate what they're doing or anything like that? We don't, because I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
So.
and they don't want like the younger generation or even people down there buying Toronto apparel. Like, they don't want them buying Raptors jerseys, Raptors hats, the apparel and stuff, because that money, I guess if Michelin Ness makes it, the money stays stateside. But other than that, they're not really recouping off those sales and all that stuff, right? So it's not their product.
That could be partly true. In some ways, this could be like a weird side effect and I think this is true, that this has already been happening. There's a lot of U.S. Raptor fans. And the reason why we see a lot of fans in other arenas is partly because they can see the mistreatment and the not fairness towards us. And in some ways, they root for the underdog. They root for the people that are maligned and don't get the fair chance because they like that story more. Maybe in their own lives, they identify with that story themselves more. And in some ways, they've had to work hard in their lives for everything they've gotten. And in some ways, they identify with the Raptors because of that. And in some ways, they may do this kind of energy to us, and it actually helps us become more popular.
Yes, for sure. Because we're going through the grind. We're getting out the mud.
Yeah, and people respect that. This is the part of the reason why NBA Chev became a Raptors fan. Is exactly what we're talking about right here.
And that's why he has so many YouTube strikes. They don't like that coming from that side of the states line. You know what I'm saying? They don't like that.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be talking Knicks. He's supposed to be talking the major markets over there.
Yeah.
Boston, Miami, LA, not Toronto.
Yeah. And not only that, talking them up in a positive way where they might be doing something right. Yeah. You're totally right on that, man. It's a tough situation. So number 2, we're going to go to subject number 2.
Yeah, so to number 2. So due to the political affairs between the two countries, I know we said the East is wide open and a lot of teams look like they're going to be bad next year. I don't agree with that. I think Boston's still going to be a problem. But do you think teams are still, even those teams that we count out, teams like Boston, certain teams that we say are going to fold, let's say a Brooklyn, we still can't overlook them. I think they're still going to come out and give their all due to the fact we are the one Canadian team in the league. Yeah. Every team brings it when they play against us. No team doesn't say, like, it's not like back in the 90s where guys would come into Toronto.
It's an easy win.
And celebrate.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to take us serious this year. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for us. I do see us making the playoffs, but we're going to have to get it out the mud.
I agree with you. I think that in some ways, the new NBA is not an easy NBA in any kind of way. And in some ways, that's why we're going to be successful. Rick Carlisle did an interview this week with the Indiana Pacers reporter. She's awesome. I forget her name. But it's an absolutely amazing interview. Rick Carlisle basically said the NBA has shifted and changed, and the teams that will win in this league are the hardest working teams. He said this past season when he played the Raptors, that team works really hard. That's how he looks at us. And now he's saying the teams that work the hardest in the league are going to be winning the league now. And that's true. The old system of getting 2 or 3 superstars and letting them coast on their talents and just putting a little bit of guys around them to work with them is not going to work anymore. That whole contingency of who you got have to be dogs and getting out after it. And in some ways, we're positioned in the new NBA to be successful in this aspect because this is the way Darko has these guys coached right now.
Yep.
And this is going to be a huge aspect and why we're going to be successful. I think you're right. I may be downplaying the Celtics a little bit too much, but realize the signals are there that they really do want to lose. Because what's the point of having a half-ass season in the middle? Like if somebody was saying if they try and just get the play in, well, what's the point? A lot of people use that logic on us all the time. It's like, what's the point? Well, this is a team that's a champion 2 years ago, and this is a team that's expected to be at the top of the East. Now, if they want to have a down year this year, they probably are going to try and lose on purpose. I'm telling you right now. Because they would love to get a high draft pick to add to their great team already. And in some ways, they may be calculating we need a high-value draft pick like a VJ Edgecombe for the Sixers to add to this plethora because then the talent will grow and we can pay them cheaper. And boom, all of a sudden, we've got like a core that's championship worthy all of a sudden, just taking 1 year off.
VJ's going to get stifled in Philly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's gonna have some outstanding plays that everyone's gonna be like, wow, he's amazing. But Maxey needs the ball too much.
Yeah.
There are two guys, I can't remember his name, McCain or McCall.
Yeah, Jared McCain. Yeah.
He just fires as soon as he touches the ball.
Yeah.
Embiid needs the ball too much. Paul George doesn't pass. Oubre.
And you said the most important name in this is Nick Nurse. We know how he does with developing. So
yeah. All right, so number 3, and I got one more after this.
All right, cool.
What's your thoughts on, and this is staying with Boston, because I know you hate Boston so much. Chris Boucher going to Boston, does that not sort of raise an eyebrow for you because he Chris Boucher, I keep saying Bosh, Boucher came out of our system.
Yeah.
He just came out of our system under Darko. He sort of knows everything Darko
we're
is
doing. He's going to go over there and tell Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla everything we're doing.
And that's our number one enemy. Really.
He's going to azotam us. Chris Boucher's going to azotam. He's like, oh, I brought these files that Darko gave me. Oh, here you go. Oh, no. Lawsuit. We're suing you, Boston. I recently saw Azotam was at Summer League with the Raptors in the ballroom practice facility. And I was like, well, that's fucked up. They fired Masai, but Azotam's still employed with us, and we're still in this lawsuit with the Knicks because of him. So that's kind of crazy that Azotam outlived Masai Ujiri on our team, which is kind of crazy, honestly.
That's a head scratcher.
But yeah, all right, getting back to your question about Boucher, I think that Boston's done this regularly every once in a while. That's why Delano went there. That's why Steve Mahalik may have went there after us. But I don't think that they get as much as you think from doing that. I think that we change stuff so quickly. Like it's just like why the lawsuit with the Knicks was so frivolous. It's like, yeah, you gave us all the plans from last year, but then you changed your team in the offseason, and we don't really know what you're doing this year. If you're a good team, you've changed everything, right? So even if Chris goes with stuff from last year that he knows, basic stuff, sure, some of the building blocks, he'll be able to tell them, but it's like they can probably look at us and see what we're doing. But we're going to change with Brandon coming in. A lot of the stuff we're going to do is going to be very different. And I know that Darko has said that he has a phone book full of plays. He has a phone book size full of plays. So a phone book, like he has stuff that he's going to be adding and do. And this is really intricate offensive kind of stuff that he's got ready for the team as they go on and they get more adept and connected. Think about it. We have high IQ players in our starting lineup, and the more they play together and get reps, the more he can bring out the more intricate, complicated plays that he'd actually like them to run over time.
And the main reason why I was laughing at that, what you said about the phone book part is people don't really understand. You can't be a low IQ player. Like, it doesn't matter if you're great at basketball, if you can put the whole ball in the net all the time. If you have a low IQ, you are not going to succeed with a coach that has a very big playbook like that. Because once you don't know the plays and stuff, you're out of there.
You're fucked.
You just look like a pylon out there.
You're underwater and you're just like, oh, what the hell can I do? I don't know what. It's scary. In some ways, this is part of why you have to suss people out at the draft level for this. And you don't want to bring in any knuckleheads. I mean, there's so many players that are so talented in the history of the NBA that are absolutely idiots, that really aren't smart people. In this league, it's getting to the point where you have to be a very high-level athlete. As a very big player, you have to be agile and stuff like Scott. But then also you have to have character and you have to have an IQ. Because before, you could come in the NBA and be dumb as a rock and you would be flourishing. But not anymore. There's a thinking man's part to the NBA at this point. And
for sure.
Yeah.
Because even they asked Michael Beasley, I think Kevin Durant said Michael Beasley's the best scorer who ever played in the NBA because they're both in the DMV, that DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Yeah. But Michael Beasley may have been one of the most talented, best scorers that came to the NBA, but did he go anywhere? No.
He couldn't read a playbook. They asked him who's the best defender you've ever faced, Michael Beasley, and he said it was Coach Spoelstra. And was like, wait, what?
Every coach, they took me out of the game. He blamed the coaches for his failures in his career, which is absolutely stupid. What? Yeah. I mean, that's a great example of what you're talking about, Seymour. All right, man. I love this fourth. Can we call this 4 quarters with Seymour? 4 quarters with Seymour. Fourth quarter.
Remember we said we all thought they were going to draft Malawak at center.
Yeah.
And I have to give them praises because as the days go by, I'm falling more in love with CMB.
Murray Boyles,
to the team. But I think they actually drafted based off of durability. And I'm going to say something which is really important. If you draft on talent or positional need, you're not going to really get that guy you really want. Now, if you go on durability, because remember the league is based on durability right now. A lot of teams that fell short, like Cleveland, Indiana, a lot of teams that fell short on their run last year was due to injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So durability is really key. I think we said last year the reason why our record was so poor was because of durability. If we were healthy, we would have a better roster.
I think so.
A better team. And it's deep with the durability thing. Now with CMB, I like that we went and got a guy who got injured during college and not injured later in his career because he knows how to deal with his injury. And the reason why I say that is in his first summer league game, he sat out. Most people would have played and would have went and exerted out their energy and this and that. I think what the coaching staff did, they said, look, we need you to sit for the first game just so you can focus on the speed of the game, the physicality of the game before you insert yourself in. Yeah. This is how you do with a player who knows he had an injury before, but you want to micromanage him. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think he came to the best team he could go to, honestly.
I think that he's realizing that in some ways. I think you're right. There was something suspicious about him having the abductor strain for the first game of Summer League, but I thought that it really worked out well. I know that at that time we were disappointed as Raptors fans because we wanted to see our number 9 pick make his debut in Summer League. But I think that there is a lot to what you're saying, that the coaches may have wanted him to see the speed and everything off the bench first, and maybe not put him in such a high pressure situation. In some ways, it took some of the pressure off of him.
Oh, yeah.
And when he got to watch the Raptors in the first Summer League game absolutely rout the Bulls, he felt pretty good after that. And there's some confidence from his teammates having success before he even shows up. And then he comes in, he can just come in and do what he does, sponging up the ball with his huge hands. I think you're right, too, with the durability stuff. I think that, once again, there's a certain bullseye you want to hit with players that you're bringing in for your NBA teams, you're building teams with. And, availability along with IQ is another thing that very much needs to be thought about when you're bringing a player into the league at this point. Because, and I think you're right. I think you're right on all your points on Colin Moore-Boyles. I'm really excited about him. I've seen in articles, a lot of people are talking about him a lot on YouTube channels and stuff like that. And somebody said in something recently, I'm sorry I don't have the credit for it, that they think that he's as good as Draymond on defense, but he's going to be way better on offense than Draymond. And that, to me, sounds very attractive and appealing for the Raptors in the years to come. You know? Yeah. I mean, I don't like comparing people to Draymond, but a lot of people like to say Draymond is one of the best defensive players of his era. And, well, they're saying that Colin Murray-Boyles can be like Draymond Green in those kind of ways. Maybe not the cheap shots and the extracurricular bullshit. But
it's dirty, man. That's a Zaza Pachulia all over
again. Yeah. There's too many examples. For sure. All right, Seymour. Well, we've done 4 quarters with Seymour Pape. I hope y'all enjoyed our new segment. I like it.
All right, y'all have a great day.
Yeah.
Stay prosperous. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
And go Raptors.
That's right. Keep holding it down for us in the Mountain Standard Time. The Sheriff Seymour Pape, the City Slicker, wearing the New York Mets hat out west because he honors Billy Crystal and Jack Palance and Daniel Stern. I love that. We got a call from Seymour there. All right, let me keep going with the stories. Now, we were talking about Grady Dick and his soccer kick. Now, this is the next one I want to do. Chris Boucher's Instagram stories. Breaking news, traded to the Celtics, and people are making note of it. A lot of honoring of him for being the leader of the Raptors franchise and points off the bench, rebounds off the bench, blocks off the bench, 3-pointers off the bench, games played off the bench, and minutes played off the bench. Shams. It's off the bench. Yeah, and see, he's showing love to Toronto. Here's a picture of him saying, Toronto loves you, Slim Duck. And he posted that. He reposted that. So he's showing the love on the way out. the connection. He's leaving a bona fide alumni, loved legend Raptors. He's not saying, fuck y'all Raptors. No, he's honoring the connection between us. And he's showing that it is still there. And he'll always be a Raptor in his heart and towards us too. We all think of him that way too. So let's not get it twisted. Some ways Instagram is the way that the players signal how they're feeling about their exits. Some may write letters to the place that they just left. And who knows, maybe we'll get a letter from Chris towards Toronto and what it meant to him playing for our team, man. So proud of you. Everything you showed. We are a proud community. That's the Raptors fans talking to him. And there he is in the Celtics green in the next picture. Crazy. And here he is. He's playing Jay Uso or somebody coming out. How I feel because God's let me see another day, live to see another day. And he's like, woo. So in some ways it's good. New beginnings are good for people. Now I know it hurts. I know some ways people say, why couldn't we keep him here? Well, let's not hold on to the past and fear. Let's go forward in the future with the newness of the future and let go of the past. That's what we have to do, guys, in some ways. It's the healthy thing to do. And right now, with Chris, we've had to let him go as of this week, unfortunately. That's just how it goes, guys. Certified Raps legend. They're putting this up here. He knows he's a Raps legend, and he's putting it on blast on there. So we love you, Chris. You always, and he's posting so much of him in Raptors jersey still on his way out, but he is a Celtic now, and it is going to be this way, at least for now. There's Chucky Hepburn checking in from the Palacio Real de Madrid. So I'm guessing are they staying in a palace net connected to where they're practicing? Maybe Chucky's there. Jonathan Mobo's showing a fit on his Instagram stories. That's the Instagram stories for today. There you go with a 4-quarter break in the middle there with Seymour Pave. I love it. That was cool. I like that new segment. If Seymour calls regularly, hopefully Seymour can do the 4-quarter segment with me in the future. I like it. Yeah, let's see. What else we got? Excuse me. Shams is reporting on the Raptors is ridiculous. Yeah, Shams really doesn't like us. I mean, he was a big part of the whole Pascal trade rumor bullshit flurry that happened for a couple of years there. Pascal's getting traded to Atlanta. Oh, and your sister works for them? Oh, okay. Bring back Woj. That's what James is saying. Bring back Woj. Yeah, maybe. I know he's gone on to his next thing. Smooth saying, I do not like ESPN. Their coverage of sports at large is terrible. It is. And Michelle Obama called them out on it recently. And if Michelle Obama's calling it, well, she's probably right. The acting like Real Housewives of Atlanta on ESPN with their stupid bickering and fighting with each other. We want coverage of the game. And NBC's coming with it. Trust me. NBC's going to show ESPN how to do it correctly. ABC, you suck at how you cover the NBA. NBC's going to show you how to do it right next year. That's right. Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, they're coming. That's right. Let's see. Salute to Seymour. I like that. Yeah, it's cool to hear Seymour's voice on the air today. Trevor's saying we still going to kick their ass all over the floor and give them a grade L. Yeah, I'm proud of our Raptors, and I know they're going to be good this year. I'm very, very proud of them, and I'm excited about what's going to happen this season. I really do feel like we're going to have a fantastic year, and it's going to be very successful, guys, and it's going to be very, 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 very good. All right, wow, we got a lot of comments that I got to get to, and I got to get going here. All right, let's keep going. Seymour saying ESPN reporters play too much 2K sports, basketball, video games. Idiots. Are they playing video games a lot? Is that why they're being like this? I thought that they were just not doing their job and just kind of lazy, and they don't get off their ass and actually watch films of all the teams and all the players so they know who they are. I mean, seriously, they get mispronounced names so much. You know, that's something that I learned in broadcasting school. When I went to Florida State, I went to School of Communication in the Diffenbaugh building. And, one of the things that we learned, if you're covering sports, like if you're a play-by-play or a color commentator on the air, because I did that shit in university, I have real training in this, is that you're supposed to get the media guide and go through it before the game and kind of check all the weird names that you might have to call in the game and get the pronunciation right. The media guides are given to you by the athletic departments of the schools and university. And it's great. You go to Florida State football game and they got all the players' names phonetically pronounced. So people mispronouncing names on broadcasts, professional broadcasters mispronouncing names and fucking up different things like that. Y'all do your fucking homework. Because when I learned in communication school at Florida State, at Diffenbaugh building, is that there's no excuse for you getting names wrong because they give you all the materials that you should fucking get it right when you're on the air. So it sounds like y'all aren't studying for the test. Y'all ain't getting your media guides and your different things you're supposed to get and looking at them and doing your research like Matt Devlin does for the Raptors when he's quoting stats and doing stuff from the media guide because he cares about his job. He's a professional. He does his job right. But there's a lot of jackasses out there calling games that are not because they don't know how to fucking say guys' names right. Seriously. How long did it take y'all to learn how to say Anunoby? And how quick did you get to say it when you got to New York? This is what I'm going to say. Seriously, right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Kaloy saying the good thing is almost everyone knows that ESPN is garbage, and their kind of garbage industry is dying. I hope so. I hope it's not like we get more garbage AI industry coming in some ways. That's going to replace it. I don't know. Maybe the real will be real. Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Michael Jordan, Jamal Crawford, come real next year with NBC. Be as real as possible, please. I would love that. Wayne saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. We're not surprised by anything that unprofessional people do. Our mindset is that we know these are not serious people. We want our ex-players to do well, and everyone still loves us. You know, it's crazy because you're saying the unprofessionals. The professionals are the unprofessionals, and it's becoming the unprofessional people are more professional than professional people. Because people like me are more likely to fact check and do their job better in some ways at a certain point than the gaslighting that we're seeing from the corporate media. So it's like grassroots media, like YouTube, independent creators may be way more reliable and way more better at their jobs at a certain point than the actual professionals, because we're actually filling the gaps of what the public wants better than what they're fucking doing with their bullshit Real Housewives shit that they're doing. Seriously, we're getting to that point. Seriously, it does seem like that. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rapid Free crew. Are we surprised by U.S. media coverage? Their goal is to promote American. Always the marketing strategy for every sport. I wish I paid more close attention to the Blue Jays because in some ways I'd like to see how they're covering them right now. If I knew the difference and could actually watch it, maybe Smooth Brown Man could fill me in on this as an avid Blue Jays watcher. Are they giving the Blue Jays a fair shake right now with their success that they're doing right now, or are they poo-pooing it? Are they ignoring it? Are they talking about the Yankees and the Red Sox all the time and ignoring the Blue Jays being near the top? I would wonder that. Does the same phenomena happen to the only Canadian team in the MLB like it does to the only Canadian team in the NBA? I have to know. This is a good time to check this because the Blue Jays are very, very successful right now. Very successful. So I want to know. Cool Cat saying congratulations to Victoria Muboko on reaching the finals of the NBO 25, another historic first in her early career. It's fantastic. I love to see this. And yeah, she's a phenom right now. She's a real phenom this week. Reggie's saying there's more guns coming into Canada by way of the U.S. than ever before. Why don't people talk about that? Yeah, you're talking about fentanyl. We're talking about the illegal guns that y'all manufacture down there, and they're flooding our streets and causing violence and problems up here. It sounds like y'all's exchange of illicit bullshit is absolutely worse for us than the bullshit you're making up about fentanyl. Reggie hit the nail on the head. He's getting a dunk. Because he's exactly right. The illegal guns that are coming into Canada from the United States is immoral. And in fact, those illegal guns go to Mexico also. And it's absolutely immoral there too. They fund the drug cartels that they say are so bad. The legal gun manufacturers here in the United States are sending them down there. Not here in the United States, down in the United States. 166 for Smooth Brown Man on the dunk charts. Let's see. Isaac's got me on blast. I love it. James is saying, who do you see not getting much playing time this year? Mobo, Battle, Oshai? Yes, that's a pretty good list right there. That's a pretty good list. All right, I'll do a 10 check real quick. 10 check. All right, our starters. Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. Starting 5. Jamal Shed, Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Colin Murray Boyles, Sandro Mamu. That's 10 right there. That's 10 right there. And that's leaving out all 3 of those guys you named, along with Shamshay, Elijah Martin, Chucky Hepburn. That's what I'm saying. There are 10 spots in the rotation every night. And there's going to be 5 starters. There's going to be 3 regular bench and 2 flex guys that get switched game to game. And it may be Jamison Battle in there instead of Jacoby Walter some nights. It may be all indicative on who's available, that kind of stuff. It's more likely it's who's available, but the best we'll see. If we have a full, healthy roster at times, you'll see the pecking order of who is the starter, rotation, and on the outs. And then if people are missing games, we'll see who gets to fill the next man up spots. That's what I'm saying, like right there. James, great question. I appreciate your question. Wayne's saying our talent pool going into training camp and preseason is above average. We don't have to be bombastic. Our fundamentals are sound. Our coaching staff is well learned in both development and experience. Part of the reason why we need a very deep team is the energy expenditure of our team. We need the refreshing of the dogs coming in one after the other. As Emmanuel comes out, Jamal comes in, Jamal comes out, Elijah comes in, Chucky. If we can get a real dogged defense where we have a refreshed energy of coming after the other team over and over again, this is good. In some ways, we need that multiple players that are like that. The success of the Thunder in the finals with Caruso, Dort, and Cason Wallace, that kind of stuff is what we kind of want to mimic with some of the guys on our team right now, with Jamal Shed and Chucky Hepburn and people like that. So we'll have to see how it all goes. And, Darko's going to be pressing the right buttons to put the right people in on the right times and the right rotations on the right days. And we got to trust our coach, and he'll make the right decisions on that. That's right. Trevor's saying fuck fake, fuck, and fuckers all. Okay, that's interesting, Trevor. That's not your normal comment. Like, I would be like coming in one morning, and maybe this is the words of wisdom one morning. This would be really weird, man. It'd be like Trevor J's words of wisdom. All right, guys, Trevor J's words of wisdom. Fake, fuck, and fuckers all. Like, okay. I think that this is very concise words of wisdom by Trevor. It's a very direct opinion. And thank you for your words of wisdom, Trevor. I look forward to them every morning. That would be so weird if I came in and that was the words of wisdom. Fake, fucking fuckers all. That's so funny. It's so funny, man. All right, at least Randolph's here. We'll hear his words of wisdom this morning. Randolph Phillips, good morning to you, Raptor Freak Randolph. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. We love because God first loved us. So, no man, nothing but to love them, love unconditionally. It's tough to do in some ways. They really try and amp us up and divide. There are some bad guys in this world right now, and it's tough to love them. In some ways, you turn the other cheek. In some ways, that's weakness, and they crush you. In some ways, it's tough because in some ways, I want to turn the other cheek. I want to love unconditionally. But in some ways, you can't love fascists and racists in this world. You cannot love them. You cannot turn the other cheek with them. In some ways, they need to be smote. They need to be smited. It's tough. I'm trying to balance this. I'm trying to do this, Randolph. I want to think better of every single person on this earth, but there is absolute evil entities at this point on this earth right now that are doing horrible, horrible harm to the freedom and democracy of this world. And it's tough. It's tough. I appreciate you, Randolph. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. I'm trying to love unconditionally. In some cases, I can't. It's tough. G saying the media shapes narratives the way they think it helps them. SGA going to sick kids was amazing. Congrats to the 18, 19-year-old Victoria Muboko for making tennis finals in Montreal Canadiens. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. That's good. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Adriana's saying everything should be based on merit. I think that's true, but we have to also understand that there's a history of not allowing people opportunities, and there is a little bit of trying to make up for that in the past to try and give people some chances. I agree that people that do the job the best should be doing the jobs. That's right. I'm not even sure what that's in reference to, but I'll just answer it in general. Adriana, thank you for being here this morning. Trivia Commissioner. Smooth Brown Man saying, don't forget, Vince checked out on the team, guys. He was throwing games. Forgive, but don't forget. Yeah, there's something that's happening right now. Let's go to Raptors Reddit real quick because there's a debate going on Raptors Reddit about Vince Carter and something he said. This is posted yesterday. He's talking about how Vince Carter reveals why he attended his graduation on day of a Game 7. He made a promise. He made a promise to his mom. And the comments section is pretty interesting because a lot of people are trying to say this is what Vince is trying to do after the fact. He's trying to change the narrative about his decision to go to graduation on Game 7 against Philadelphia as like, this is why, and this is such a good thing. And he wants to kind of kill the whole narrative that he was selfish for doing it or wrong for doing it. And he wants to change history. In some ways, this is kind of like what some people in the States are trying to do, change history and change the facts about the case so that it looks better for him. No, we won't forget this, Vince. And I'm sorry, you can't do this. Even in JYD's book, which is sitting right there behind me, he says in it, we all know that if Vince Carter had not gone to his graduation, he would have been a stronger player for the Raptors that day against Philadelphia in that game. And JYD said in his book, I mean, seriously, other people said this too. Charles Oakley did not agree with you going there. In some ways, and then the dark side of the Raptors, Raptors Delight, Sportsnet's piece of crap that they made last year, they had a lot of interviews with different people from that team kind of saying, I don't know why he did that. It didn't make any sense to me. If I had talked to him, I would have told him not to go. Charles Oakley saying shit like that. So, yeah, he's trying to change the narrative after the fact to try and make himself look good. Once again, people are going to try and change the history books to cover up bullshit that they did. And, well, in some ways, us older fans, we got to keep the truth out there and teach the young people exactly what actually happened. Because Vince is trying to rewrite history right now about his reasons for why he went to graduation. It doesn't change the outcome or what happened. Some people say, well, it doesn't mean he would have made the shot if he had not gone to graduation. Yeah, but it wouldn't have got all this controversy or the possibilities of thinking that maybe it did. And as somebody pointed out in the Raptors Reddit comments on this post, he could have taken a later graduation later that summer that didn't conflict with a Game 7, the most important game of his entire life in his NBA career. Seriously, that game was the most important game of his entire life, his NBA career. He failed because in some ways he did something selfish that he could have done at a later date and it would have been just the same. Seriously. They do graduations all the time there. Seriously. All right, here we go. We got our next call on the air. Caller, you're on the Raptor Free Call-In Thursday Think Tank Show. How are you today? Oh, hang on.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's our trivia commissioner, Adriana, is calling in. So what would you like to talk about today?
I just want to say that I wish Chris the best of luck, and I'm going to miss him.
I know. It's tough when we see Raptors leave after they've been here, especially popular ones, people that really love Chris. We all love Chris. We love OG. We love Fred. We love Pascal. These things happen, and it's just part of it, you know. In some ways, we got to go through a transition from the old to the new. And this is what's happening right now. I know. I wish Chris well, too. So how's your day going, Adriana?
A little bit tough, but it's okay.
I'm sure you're making the best of what's going on, and you're getting through it and doing your best. I know you are. So
I'll let you get back to your comments.
Okay. Well, actually, I wanted to ask you, did you watch the Fred VanVleet TV clip that came out this week that I shared with the group?
I did not.
You didn't watch it? You got to watch it.
Nope.
You got to watch it. It's about a half an hour, and you'll love it. I know you're a huge VanVleet fan. And
yes, I do love Fred.
You've got to watch this, Adrian. I'm sorry. You just got to watch it just to see Fred try and get on a little plane. He's scared. He's like, I don't know if I want to get on this plane. It's such a good clip.
I guess I'll have to get to that.
Yeah. If you're having a little bit of a tough day, it'll brighten your day. Trust me. FVV TV is what it is. That's right. So, all right. Anything else you want to say? Go Raptors?
Yes, go Raptors.
All right. I appreciate you so much, Adriana. Thank you for helping me with the channel as Commissioner of Trivia, and thanks for calling in today.
Okay, bye.
All right. Talk to you again. All right. Cool. We got Adriana. She's going to miss Chris. I mean, all of us are. We're all going to miss Chris for extent. Yeah. Let's see. Cool Cat's saying this. It's not only the Raptors. SGA is not getting the popular NBA coverage with the chip in his historic performance. He touts his Canadian too much for the U.S. media. Marketing of the U.S. brand is the utmost. Yeah, and this is why this is such a perfect storm of fuckery and failure for U.S. basketball. Because this is the thing. I'm going to paint the picture real quick. The U.S. does not develop young players correctly anymore. The prep school system is broken, and players are not good enough to compete with the international players. Most of the good players in this world are international at this point. So Nikola Jokic, Giannis, SGA, Luka Doncic. These guys are all foreign players, and they're all the best players in the league. The best American players in this league are not the best players in this league. I'm sorry. Jason Tatum may be the best American in the league. Well, he's not as good as those guys I just named. And that's part of the problem there. In some ways, they're in a bad place. They're going to be fucked on this because as much as Nikola was not a good marketable MVP and figurehead for the NBA, SGA isn't to them just because he's Canadian. Well, y'all are fucked, because in some ways the system of bringing up good players in the United States is broken, and you're not going to get these phenoms like you used to. And the other rest of the world is doing better and bringing better players. So it's like international players are ruling the NBA, and y'all don't know how to make a face of the league without it being American. They're fucked. Adam Silver, you need to wave the white flag and just say, yeah, the international players are the top players in the league, and I need to make one of them the face of the league. It looks like they might try and do that with Luka in his situation with LA. In some ways, he's more palatable in some ways as a foreign face of the league for certain reasons, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Randolph saying, Lex and fellow freaks, I'll be out of the top of the next few days, out of the loop for the next few days, in conference all day in Windsor, Ontario, a long way from Montreal. So Randolph is on business in Windsor, Ontario. Okay. Well, we'll miss you. And we'll be here when you're done. You can come back, and it'll be awesome. Enjoy your conference from Cool Cat. I like that. Stay safe. There you go. Wash your damn hands. That's what Seymour would say. That's his words of wisdom by default. He's just going to say, everybody, wash your damn hands is what he'll say. Medved's here. Good to see Medved. It's been a little while. We need to hire whoever can work with Coach Darko, who understands the direction. I'm happy with promoting Bobby or bringing in someone like Dwayne Casey. Yeah, it really is about fit and non-toxic. If Ed and Keith want to really fuck this team up, they'll hire an outsider that absolutely is going to be disruptive and fuck our team up. And that would be horrible. If we see this happen, we'll blame them because it's their decision in some ways. This is exactly right. Medved's right. We need somebody who will come in and work with the existing people that are already established what we're doing and going forward. And I think Keith Belly's smart enough to understand this, that he doesn't want to screw everything up with what we've been building the last couple of years, because in some ways we can all directly point fingers at him and Ed if the shakeup is too drastic and they are fucking with our team themselves from that level. So they have to be smart with this decision. It has to be something that fits where there's trust and loyalty and cohesion working between these positions. Medved is exactly right. That's more important than thinking whether Dwayne Casey's a loser or not. It's more important if we have somebody who's non-toxic and somebody that can work with Bobby, and Dwayne's already been proven to do that. So, yeah, he's saying promoting Bobby or hiring Dwayne Casey's okay with him. And that's the way I am with it too, right there. And Darko, yeah, we need somebody who can work with Darko. I think that Dwayne and Darko would work well together. That'd be interesting because to me, they're both very good development coaches. Both of them are very good at developing young players. And once again, I must say this, part of the allure of Dwayne Casey is he's a brain trust. He's a part of adding to the brain power of the team. Masai's is gone. We need to replace him, I guess, because Ed Rogers said we have to. And, well, he wants to bring in somebody. Well, a good brain, a good basketball brain, a smart guy like Dwayne Casey would be good. He would be good to have in because he has a lot of insight and he can see it from the bigger perspective. And like I said to Infamous earlier, don't worry about him making micro decisions in the game. I mean, there's a lot of clips out there of Casey fucking up in NBA games right now on Reddit. People are posting his fuck ups. Yeah, I get it. He fucked up in this situation. He fucked up in this situation. But you know what? How many decisions do NBA coaches make all the time? All the time. They have to make so many decisions on the fly quickly and try and be trusting and making the right decision. They're not going to every time. There's going to be a percentage of fucking up. I mean, shit, I tried to coach for a while. I coached at different levels. It's hard. There's a lot going on all at once. And if you can keep up with everything and be on top of everything, good for you. It's a very hard job to do. So listen, everybody criticizing Casey for messing up or mixing up things sometimes. You know what? Every coach makes these mistakes. And it's just you're showing his highlight reel of his worst mistakes. But all coaches make mistakes. They're human. There's going to be a certain percentage of not deciding the right things in different ways. And that's just that's part of why that job's so tough. That's just part of why it's so tough. Yeah, let's see. Neil's saying when you talk up Casey, you have to take you have to take his coach decision out of the equation and look at his organization decisions. That's exactly right. It's not about what he did as a coach. It's about what he did in front office positions, because that's the job he's going to if he comes here. That's the thing. He has been good with Detroit front office and bringing G League to Raptors. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. I've talked about this till I'm blue in the face the last week about Dwayne Casey and the fit and how it is a good thing, and just trying to educate people more and more on why. Because it's really easy to just take a really quick take on this and say, well, we fired him years ago. What? That must mean something. Why would we want him back? No, he's a really valuable person. And in some ways, I didn't totally agree with firing him at the time, but it was the right decision. And Masai was smart. He made a very gutsy, tough decision, and it worked out. Thank God. Thank God. Shaq Lindsay's here. Good morning to Shaq Lindsay. Thank you for supporting the channel, Neil and Shaq Lindsay. This ignorant nationalism these sports media heads have will never work if the NBA wants to expand. That's why I don't believe it will ever work. You're exactly right. Boom goes the dynamite. Shaq Lindsay's on it, man. This is kind of the conundrum that I was just talking about with the face of the league issue for the NBA right now. You're at 60, Shaq Lindsay. You've got right on 60 now. Is basically Adam Silver. If you're thinking about expanding to the NBA Europe, you're not going to be successful with your xenophobia and the way that your league is marketed. You know, you might as well start practicing with the Raptors in Canada and being more friendly to international audiences. If you really want to go over to Europe, you're failing over here because we look at how y'all are doing, and this is the whole subject today. So how the fuck do you think you're going to win people over there when you're turning us off? And we're already in the NBA as the only international team in the NBA right now. How the fuck is the NBA Europe going to work with your xenophobic all America first asses? Seriously, Shaq Lindsay's exactly right. He's exactly right. There's no way this would be economically successful because y'all are assholes. And a lot of people don't like the United States around the world right now. And if the NBA is going to be like this towards the Raptors, the way they are in the league already, why the fuck would this be successful? Shaq Lindsay just shot big hole bullet holes through your NBA Europe idea in his comment just now. Big old bullet holes right there. This is crazy. It'll never work. It will never work, Adam Silver, because you guys have your heads up your ass with American exceptionalism. That's right. That's right. Neil's saying you can look at whether Casey can continue to structure the organization. I'm telling you, in some ways, we don't want somebody who wants to do a whole lot. We want somebody who's coming in and the title may just matter. Seriously. We don't necessarily want a busybody. We don't necessarily want somebody who wants their fingerprints all over everything. In some ways, we want somebody to help Bobby with the extra workload with Masai gone, and in some ways get the fuck out of Bobby's way. It could actually be that Casey's the president over Bobby, but he's not really making any decisions. He's just helping Bobby as a side person to help him. Bobby's making a lot of decisions. In some ways, Casey may be giving him his advice on what he sees, and they're working together like him and Masai would. But the most important thing, that job is to buffer the ownership away from the decisions. That's the most important thing. Interference. I'm telling you right now, that's the most important thing about the new person that comes in for team president. And do we want to waste Bobby Webster's time running around circles helping Keith Pelly understand what the fuck's going on? Or do we want Bobby to be on the phone working the phones with the other GMs and wheeling and dealing? That's what I'm saying. Casey would be good because he could be ornery and he could sit there and be kind of like, well, with all due respect, Keith Pelly, I'm a basketball person. I've coached in this league. I did this. And I'm telling you right now, this is not a good decision basketball-wise because I know, and I'm a front office person from Detroit. I'm just telling you, in some ways, that's the job description for this position that they need to fill. Or if they don't fill it, I'd be happy to just give them a lot more extra workers underneath him, underneath GM Bobby Webster. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Let's see. Neil's saying all employees are yes people majority of the time, or they are considered too disruptive and fired. This is part of the reason why I don't get involved in the active workforce. I've worked for so many different companies, different places, and I at some point have some sort of issue with them because I'm not going to fucking kiss their ass. I'm not going to do something that's wrong morally in my position. I've been fired from a job for not firing someone that I didn't believe should be fired. I've stood my ground morally and not kiss their ass and been a yes man, and I've been paid for it by not working there anymore. And that's fine because in some ways, some people will sell out their own morals just to keep a job or just to do that, but not me. In some ways, that's part of the reason why I don't do well in that capitalism. I don't do well in that kind of structure. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why Lex is Lex, is exactly what Neil's talking about right there. Because I was one of those disruptive people. I was one of the ones that probably would try and start organizing a union in places where they needed one. That kind of person. That's right. That's right. Vinay. Y'all like that call? That's pretty funny. Hello, is Vinay there? He owes us money. I'm like, I don't know Vinay. This is not his phone number anymore. Get off my phone. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Happy Thursday. Just checking in to say hi, listening to the stream while working. Well, good morning, MJ. I hope you have a fantastic Thursday. And I'm glad you chose the Raptor Freak stream to listen to while you're working. A little bit of a Raptors radio show in the middle of August in the off season. Nobody else talking about Raptors. No, Blake Murphy's doing Blue Jays. I'm talking Raptors still. I don't even know if talking Raptors or Raptors, what is it? Everyday Raptors or whatever, Locked On Raptors. These guys aren't locked on like the Raptors Freak. Nope, they ain't. Kaloy saying people all have this bad assumptions about Casey. I know. I think they misread him. Like, it's weird because his voice doesn't match up the way he acts on the court. Sometimes we see him like demonstrative in some of his facial reactions, but then when you hear his voice when he's talking to everybody, he's way more soft-spoken than you think. Like, it's weird. Like, I always saw Casey in games, and he's like so fiery and like he's passionate in his face, and you think he's angry, but he's not. He's a very calm, collected kind of guy. And if you actually hear him in huddles from old footage, you're like kind of shocked at like, wait, his voice is way nicer than I thought it would be. Watching him for so many years, like not hearing him in the huddles, he's like very like reasonable is what I'm saying. It's like, it's weird. A lot of people have a miscast Dwayne Casey for who he is. They've miscast him. G saying, I'm 50-50 about Casey, but Detroit has definitely gotten much better since Casey has joined their front office. Yeah, the results are there. I just think it would be safe, G, because we know he understands and respects our culture because he's helped build it. In some ways, it's like he's returning to a house that he helped build, and he wants to check on it and help. Like, why would he want to destroy something that he spent 8 years of his life building? In some ways, an investment prior for time served and absolutely part of his legacy. There's a lot of at stake there for him to want to do well and that come back around. And think about the redemption story, G. Dwayne Casey comes back and wins that second Larry O'Brien for Toronto and dedicates it to Masai Ujiri. It's like the ultimate yin to the yang. As far as he fired me as coach of the year before they won the championship. Masai didn't get to go on court because the security guard didn't let him in Oakland. And well, he wanted to get that second chip and he got fired by a racist ass Ed Rogers. Well, Dwayne Casey can see that whole picture and say, I got you, Masai. Could you see him doing this? I could, because seriously, that would be amazing. The Raptors win their second championship in the next couple of years. Dwayne Casey's the team president, and he gets on the microphone and he says, I'm dedicating this championship to Masai Ujiri. That would make me cry. That would make me cry right there. That would be full circle right there, my guy, because that's turning the other cheek. He got fired as the coach of the year, and he's turning around. And he's going to dedicate the championship to Masai. Don't you think that what I just said would be beautiful? Don't you think that? Seriously. Kaloy saying we are also at a loss in this as we don't know what MLSC's intentions are. Do they want more profit or winning? Do they know that more winning will lead to more profit? Yeah, what are their intentions? We cannot know until we see more of this pan out. Their bad intentions toward Masai, that's for damn sure. But after that, we'll see where the damage goes after that. Hopefully it's not going to be not any more damage. That's what we want. That's right. Medved saying Casey built that 2019 championship team. He understands player development and can see what Darko is trying to do and where we want to go. I'll bet you that Dwayne Casey can identify with Darko Rajakovic way easier than Nick Nurse. I think that they are a similar kind of coach as far as their people coaches. Because this is the thing. Everybody thinks Casey's a hard ass, but he's not. Dwayne is loved by his former players. I think Ross said a lot of good things about Coach Casey on Twitch to me one day. Terrence. I know DeMar has said so many good things about Casey. Casey's like a formative coach for him on his birthday today. Happy birthday, DeMar. 36 years old today. One of the top 25 all-time scorers in the NBA's history. He gives a lot of credit to Dwayne Casey on the download that people don't even realize. It's in his book. He said it in interviews also, that Dwayne Casey is absolutely formative for DeMar DeRozan to be DeMar DeRozan. Seriously. So it's like, I think that there would be a lot of commonalities between Rajakovic and Dwayne Casey, and that they'd have a really easy time talking to each other and figuring things out. Like I said, Darko likes coaches by committee, and if you're adding an exemplary coach of the year as your team president, you're just adding the brain trust and adding to the voices that can be heard, and Darko can listen to and take what he wants to use. And I'm just saying, you got Casey around and he sees something. He's maybe watching practice with Bobby and they see Darko and he calls Darko over and say, hey, Darko, I just noticed this with Elijah and this and this. And boom, all of a sudden, it's more of the brain trust. That's what we're talking about here. Seriously. Medved, really good to see you this morning. Great points this morning. Blackhawk saying, if it is about money, then Rodgers is looking for a cheap solution, which is bad when you have a legit cash cow. I think that a cheap solution in this instance may be okay because expensive is probably Bob Myers or something like that. And we don't want to go in that direction. If they're going cheap, that means maybe they're hiring underlings for Dan and Bobby and they're just bumping them up. That's not a bad thing because then they can hire assistant GMs or helpers to the GM office instead of a team president. That's not a bad thing. That's cost cutting too. And probably that way too. Yeah. Yeah, Kaz saying, Lex, I'm rooting for you. I need you to beat MJ this week. So Trucker Kaz is rooting for me in the WNBA fantasy this week, which I am winning right now because, it'll end up being like a 3-way tie at that point. If I beat Fiercey this week, then the three of us will have the same record. We'll all be 10-2, I believe. And that'll be very interesting. 10-2 teams, 3 10-2 teams between Kaz, MJ, and myself. Wow. That would be a logjam. It would be very interesting. I see why you're rooting for me. Cool. He's saying Bobby wouldn't be the best hire, but if not, I wouldn't mind. Bobby would be the best hire, but if not, I wouldn't mind Casey. I'm starting to think he wouldn't be, though. I know that my priority list was Bobby, just bump him up. But the more I think about it, what I just said earlier, we want Bobby in that GM spot. That's his sweet spot, man. I'm telling you right now. If he goes to team president, he's more hierarchy and kind of administrative and not in the trenches doing the GM work. That may not be a good thing, guys. I'm starting to think about it because I think Bobby Webster is a plus person at that position. And if you move him up and he's doing more of the overall view and stuff like that, that may hurt our GM work. We may not be as good at trading with other teams because Bobby's not the guy on the phone all of a sudden. So the more I'm thinking about it, I'm actually switching it now. My number one choice would be Bobby Webster to be team president, but I don't think so anymore. I think I want Casey. I think he's my number one choice at this point. And that Bobby Webster should stay at GM because we need his youthful energy at that office. Because it's really good spot for him. I'm just saying. Let's see. G saying, want Masai 42-43 when he became president? Maybe I'm wrong. Don't think age should matter, to be honest. If anything, the older ones may be out of touch with the modern NBA. Okay, these are good points. Masai's a special case. He's like a skyrocket. Like he really rocketed up young as just a superstar. Now, I'm not saying that Bobby couldn't do the team president job. It's just I want to optimize our positions. It's kind of like GM is a very integral position to a franchise, right? And in some ways, we just lost a plus person at team president. I don't want to move a plus person at GM up to team president where he may not be a plus person at team president. Let's think about it that way. And then all of a sudden, we don't have any plus people at any of the positions at front office because we bumped Bobby up. That's what I worry about right there. And in some ways, maybe I shouldn't be looking at the age. But once again, Bobby's younger. Bobby's more on it. And I would say, are you trying to say that Casey's out of touch? I don't know if that's true. We can see what he did recently in Detroit with helping them get their team to the playoffs. And I don't know if that's true. Shaq Lindsay saying, in order for it to work, you got to get rid of those people, i.e. Stephen A. Smith. You can have a preference, but for the media coverage to be biased is unfair to the fans. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind players having opinions and being themselves and being personalities. But I want to respect their opinions and personalities because they're astute and learned and actually know what they're talking about. It really looks bad on TNT when these guys don't know who plays for who and they play that game. And then half of them don't know the players. Like Shaq and them are personalities, but in some ways they really should know the product they're selling. And they don't half the time. It's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy. Blackhawk saying, all I know is Toronto has to be damn good for Casey to want to come back. No, not. I would say this. All right, last year, Neil, Casey looked like he was angling for a position with the Raptors. It was really weird. He had weird energy. He was around our team a lot. He was on a lot of our media stuff, and I was like getting vibes from him like he wanted to work for the Raptors again. So let's not get it twisted. He is already interviewed. He's probably like one of the finalists right now for the job as we speak. He's already in consideration. He will take that job tomorrow. Trust me. He loved Toronto. Him and his wife love it up here. I think they had kids up here while he was up here. So it's like Dwayne is very, very happy to return to Toronto. He has no ill will or bitter taste in his mouth from him getting fired. That's a long time ago. He's moved on. He's matured and stuff like that. Over it. He's a grown man. He dealt with his feelings on it. He's not holding on to anything. I'm telling you right now. We don't have to be damn good. He could probably see what we're doing. And he'd be like, yeah, I'm all about this. Because he can see our young core. And he's going to be like, yeah, I'd love to be around these guys and talk to them. I mean, think about his dogged defense first kind of mentality and think about the dogs of defense we got on this team already. Seriously, pound the rock. Let's get that rock back in the Scotiabank Arena. Let's get Jamal Shed tapping that rock every time he goes into the locker room. That signature boulder that Dwayne Casey had down there. Tap, pound the rock, guys. I want to see that again. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying NBA wants to expand to Europe. Laugh out loud. What a joke. There's no way that would work in Trump world. The Europeans already are like Europe. America's a joke and is on fire right now. There's no way it would work. Adam Silver's got to read the room and do a better job. It's no way it would work. Mark Cuban's idea would work. Doing an NBA Cup final, World Basketball Cup final, like the FIFA, do a basketball champions tournament where the NBA champion plays the champion of Europe, the champion of Africa, champion of Australia. They get all the major groups, 8 of them, 8 champion teams from around the world and do a mini tournament. Maybe they just do 4 teams. I don't know. Do a little mini tournament. That's all you need to do, Adam Silver. And make it a big, huge event like FIFA does with soccer and the way they do it. That's right. That's right. That Europe League will fail miserably. It will. I'm going to tell you right now, that World Football League, Barcelona Dragons and all that, where'd that go? Nowhere. It's like when American sports executives want to go to the Europe, they always fail. So you go ahead and make that mistake again, Adam Silver, if you want. You're going to waste a bunch of money in some ways. You shouldn't do it. I'm telling you right now. Neil saying, Blackhawk saying, Rogers has to hire a president for Raptors because it is not the hockey world where the negotiations are easier. Well, part of it is that they did say they want the basketball people to do basketball stuff and they want to stay out of it, which I like. That's a good statement. But also at the same time, I think it is a grudge thing where Ed Rogers told Masai, you're replaceable, and he has to come through with that. He could have just vacated the position and it goes away like he did with Shanahan. But no, I think this is a point he's trying to drive home the last part of it. But Masai's above it. He's living his best life. He had an extremely successful Giants of Africa festival, and it doesn't really matter at this point. Ed Rogers get his jollies off of this. You go ahead, Ed Rogers. You look like a crusty old ass piece of shit is what you look like. That's right. G saying, I would like Bobby, but at the same time, don't want Bobby to be the fall guy later, and they may lose him completely. So Casey in that regard would be good. That's another thing I thought about, G, is if the hammer's going to fall, in some ways, you know what? You want somebody in the way, you know, on Survivor. I hate this term, but they call them meat shields. It's like get the big guy on Survivor to be around so that people will try and vote them so you're safe. Well, in some ways, that's part of why I would want Casey is because, listen, if we do need to have a fall guy at some point, he may fall on the sword easier and we could protect Bobby is what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm exactly with you on that, G. Exactly. Nick Nurse is a hack. Yeah. In some ways, Medved's a lot right there. Yeah. Shaq Lindsay saying Casey has roots here. Although Bobby is well known around the league executives, Casey is well known around players and executives. Yeah. And he's respected and he's got connections. And yeah, it's just a good fit. I know people don't think it is, but it really is a good fit. It really, really is. Kaloy saying, I agree, G. The president hire might be some kind of fall guy for the first guy they hire. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, that's what we got to think about it in this way. I mean, Masai just got fired for no good reason. It's not like he was failing or did anything wrong. They just fired him out of spite. So it's kind of good to have people just in case. We do really want Bobby Webster to continue the legacy of Masai after him. And in some ways, if we can have somebody in between him and the ownership that could possibly be the person before him, that'd be good. That'd be good. Wayne's saying, are we forgetting Dwayne Casey's contribution in Dallas? I have no personal appreciation for Dwayne. I have appreciation for his record of accomplishments. There's no championship without Dwayne. In Dallas with Rick Carlisle as his head coach, Dirk Nowitzki, that championship for the Mavericks team, Dwayne Casey's a part of that. And he was the defensive assistant coach for the Mavericks that helped them win that championship. That's the truth. That's the truth. Reggie saying, the longer it takes for a new president to be announced makes me think they're going to go with Bobby Webster. It could be too. They're in no rush, though. They already said that. And we could think about how long they took to get Rajakovic. They're not in a rush. And in some ways, that's good because I don't want them to rush the decision. A rush decision could be a very bad decision, a rash decision. And, well, I like they're taking the time. And who knows? Maybe they're listening to us on the think tank, and they want to know what the fans think. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying Masai has similar traits, well known around executives and players. Yeah. And once again, I'm telling you, the fact that Dwayne Casey got to work side by side with Masai Ujiri for a long time, it really could be helpful for continuing the legacy and culture Masai built because he's seen it from the inside and he respects it. And I think that in some ways, it's not likely that Dwayne Casey would come in and try and take away things that Masai established. It's more like he's going to protect them. And a new person from the outside that doesn't know anything about Ujiri, they are more likely to strip that shit away. That's part of what I'm trying to tell Raptors Nation is why Casey's a good hire is because he respects Masai and what he built there. And he's more likely to protect it than tear it down. And that's what we want, right? That's what we want. Let's see. Carl Kaloy saying, I want BI to play 20 to 25 minutes to manage his body. I think we can manage that and still win. That's not a bad idea, but it's not likely. If he's going to be able to play, he's probably going to play near mid-30, probably for sure. Medved saying, and we have a good backup big in Mamu. Yeah, I think that that's an upgrade. As much as we miss Chris and we love Chris, getting a real backup center in his position is better in some ways. It is better in some ways. James is saying we haven't had a talented scorer like Ingram since Kawhi. Yep, that's right. In some ways, RJ and Scotty are on that level to a degree, getting closer, but not like this in some ways. James saying, Lex, do you think Ingram is a better player than DeRozan? No. And it's only because of what's been accomplished and done already in the league. Unfortunately, Brandon Ingram has had injury problems which have held him out, and he hasn't been able to accumulate stats. I think that the showing up and the durability of DeMar DeRozan is in the same vein of LeBron James. And in some ways, that is exemplary. You know, it's not about championships or accolades sometimes. It's about durability and accumulating stats and getting on the all-time list. That's DeMar DeRozan. So, yeah, no, he's a better player than Brandon because he's established and done more in his career. If Brandon Ingram is more talented, maybe, has more to offer what he could be doing, but he's not making the most of it out of it as DeMar DeRozan did with his DeRozan code. So, but Brandon could if he stays healthy and he gets going and he keeps going. I think that Ingram's more talented overall as a player, has the more skills, the better height, but DeRozan's a better overall player in the NBA's history as of right now. But things could change. Things could change. If Ingram wins a Finals MVP and he starts leading the league almost in scoring for a while, well, that could change things real fast. That could change things. Neil's saying Boucher was not staying on the Raptors for $3 million. That's an insult to Boucher. And he had a $20 million cap hit. Well, it's not the money. That's what he got from Boston, $3 million. That's what they paid him, Neil. He's getting paid $3 million to play for Boston. He wasn't going to get the same contract that he got last contract. There's no way he was going to make a double million salary, like over 10 million in salary. It's just the new NBA, and it's just a bad timing. Maybe like 5 years ago, he could have expected to continue to make the same amount, but that salary cap structure is all messed up for the middle class. And Chris Boucher is a victim of it. He's a victim of it. So Shaq Lindsay saying it's not the money. Chris wanted playing time over the young guys. Don't get it confused. Chris did complain a lot. Just look at his body language on the bench. I don't know if he complained exactly. We don't know. That's not for sure, but I'll bet he wasn't exactly happy. But also at the same time, I got energy from him because we paid close attention to this, really close attention to this, because I was trying to read Chris's energy. And I think at times he was kind of like, the fans need to shut up about me. Like they were the people talking for him. He's like, y'all don't even know. He was saying that. He's like, y'all don't even know. They're actually dealing with me fair. You just don't know. So that I don't know what there is. What is the actual answer in that? All right. We got another caller on the air. Caller, you're on the Raptor Freak Thursday Think Tank show. Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm good, excited.
What was that? I didn't know. Totally hear you there on that one. It's Blackhawk, guys, by the way.
I said, I'm good, Lex. How you doing?
Oh, good. You were whispering. It was like right in the camera. It's like in the phone. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm good too, man. Good to hear from you, Neil. So what's going on with you today? You got anything fun going on?
No, just work, man.
Just work.
Just trying to make the dollar like everybody else.
Right
know,
on.
Trying to be a yes man.
Yes, man. Yeah.
I'm loving that one.
Yeah. My stories are true, man. There's often points where I'd be working for a company, and at some point there would be a difference, and then it would happen. And often it was like not my fault. Often. Go ahead.
Yeah, we all have to conform at some point in time until we can't take it no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're out in your butt.
Yeah. So Blackhawk, any comments you want to make on any Raptors related things today? You want to talk about the ESPN stuff? You want to talk about Boucher?
First of all, for ESPN, man, like, you know what? I'm not taking it to heart. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to look at what is the target audience, right? The target audience is you have 40 million in Canada. Sorry, 41 million. We're 41 million strong now, and 340 million in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
You're not going to get all of those people. There's only a percentage of those populations that are sports oriented. The Americans are going to beat us, though.
Well, and Canadians up here are not necessarily as into sports as Americans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if your bread and butter is coming from the majority of the U.S., you have to have the focus there because you're trying to keep those fans there.
I don't have any problem with that. I wonder why they have to slag us and misrepresent us on purpose when they do talk about us.
That doesn't have to be done. That's distasteful. Yeah. But that doesn't have to be done. But at the same time, I do understand where your bread and butter is coming from. Yeah. And if you want to change, we're not going to change overnight. We're not going to grow from 41 million to 200 million overnight.
I get what you're saying as far as markets and profits and stuff like that. In some ways, I don't really look at things that way, but I get it. It's about audience and money and stuff. So, no, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, we just can't ignore that, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what brings in the revenue for any one of the media.
Now, besides that, any other points about ESPN or any other Raptor stuff?
Well, for ESPN, I would say that some of their reporters are good. Like, I still like Mark Spears. I haven't really heard crap from Mark Spears.
He's not really on TV as much. He's more of a real writer, a sports writer who writes for a newspaper. That's part of why he's one of the better ones.
Golden State-wise, right? He's more towards that audience than our audience. But some of them are good. I'm not really for Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's totally different. At some point, he went from a sports writer to a clown, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's just commercialized himself way too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's all for
He might be using the JYD's role player mantra, relentless opportunist, leveraging everything as far as my likeness and being a character. And I'm just running rampant with that. It's like what JYD did with his persona and building into a community guy. Well, Stephen A. Smith had a persona, and he's been building it in a certain way.
Yeah, but JYD's persona never cheapened the product, right?
No, I know it. I know, but what I'm saying is the action of Stephen A. and how he built his persona, his character, is a similar kind of mentality. It's like I want to make myself have value as a name, and my brand is being brash and outspoken and controversial.
He's definitely brandicizing himself. I agree there. Right? He's definitely brandicizing himself, but I don't feel it's the same as far as JYD.
Oh, no. I'm just saying the action. It's like the mentality of like, I want to make myself into a character.
He wants to do that, but
this is my own market.
Product. The only problem is that's where I see a difference there is that when I look at Stephen A., he cheapens the product.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that. I was, if you understand what I'm saying, I'm just saying that the whole idea of JYD saying you have a personality and who you are, market yourself. and be yourself. And that's what he's doing. They're not JYD's way more positive, obviously, in some ways than Stephen A. But I think that mentality is a big reason what feeds who Stephen A. Smith is and why he is the way he is. Is because he's
like Stephen A. could be all right as long as he wasn't xenophobic. You can see it all over what he does. It's a xenophobic.
Yeah.
And lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy journalism. Right? Those two factors alone really kills it, right? Because even if he wasn't xenophobic, if you're not lazy, you can like look at what Samson and Kate, I think her name was Caitlin for the Pacers. They were reporting on the Pacers, right?
Katie.
I like what she did, right? I'm focusing on her name though, but I like what she did. I mean, you can respect what she's done, even if she's
they're real journalists, and they're not like media puppets. And they actually talk basketball on X's and O's, and that's why Samson Folk is one of the Raptors reporters that I respect the most, because he keeps on task for what he should be reporting about. Yeah. And she's the one who had the interview with Rick Carlisle this week. It's really, really good. That man, it's so good. And I think he's exactly on point with what he's saying. Rick Carlisle, about how the league is changing to a hardworking league. And you have to be good in this league, you have to be a hardworking team. No more lazy Ben Simmons shit. Because you ain't getting nowhere in this league without that.
And it makes sense. And you can respect the reporting or the journalism of it. It just feels right. It's digestible.
Yeah. Neil, anything else you want to add real quick before we get off the phone?
Chris Boucher, I'm glad that he found a place. I was never subscribing to the ideology that these other players need to get their position before he gets to, and that's also what hurts his value. I really believed whoever his agent they needed to get up off of their butt and find this guy a place, not based upon what he deserves or anything like that, but based upon this is what you're an agent for, right?
Well, they did that. The Rock Nation got him to Boston.
Yeah, but it took them a while. I would expect that to have happened.
That's not his fault. That in some ways the free agency market was
not his fault,
just taking a long time.
I'm expecting his agent to push hard for that. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is what they're paid for. So this guy is on the market. Get out there and let's not hear about, we need to hear about Al Horford, where Al Horford's going to be. No, I don't want to hear that junk.
Well, I think that was important for that situation, because maybe Boston was still trying to figure out whether Al Horford was going to stick around. And if they got the sign finally that he wasn't, then they're like, okay, we're pivoting to Boucher then. Timing in this situation, we know from a couple years ago just how much Kevin Durant held up all the free agency moves 2 years ago. And there's a similar phenomena going on the down low. And that's why people like Chris and Precious and other free agents like Josh Giddey have had to wait, is because the dominoes have to fall in the right order, because the teams are kind of leveraging, making the decisions in certain order that makes sense for them. It's kind of like a draft. It's like they got to see which players come off the draft, and then they can figure out where they want to go.
It is, but I don't like it, because I'm like, you know what?
It's just the system. It's just the way it is. The agents are talking to everybody and doing their best for him. I think that Rock Nation did a good job for him, honestly.
Nah, because you know what, they could have found him another place still.
I wish he was on another team for sure.
I was thinking it was going to be the Knicks.
Oh, fuck that. I'm actually really, in some ways, I'm glad he's not on the Knicks, even though it's the Celtics. It's just as bad. But I'm actually going to say this. I think his agent did a good job for him, because he got $3.3 million. I was expecting him to get $2 million. So he got an extra $1.5 million almost.
Both of them are equally not good, in my opinion. But again,
who?
You
Celtics and Knicks?
No. I like whether you get 2 or 3, right? I mean,
but you got to understand, Neil, what have I been saying? The new NBA is screwed up for the middle class, and there's no money for players in Chris's bracket anymore. The players like him used to get $15 million a year, but the new CBA is fucking them over. And there's only the very high paid players like Scotty and Jaylen Brown. And then there's the players that are in the middle, they're getting screwed. And this is just the way it is. There's no way he was going to get more money.
Middle of exceptions, they still exist, except that if you're the last one to get off the board, you get what's at the end of the heap. right?
You get like the little parts to just fill out the roster that are left.
Exactly.
Well, that's what this is.
You got to get it early.
That's what this is.
MLE still exists.
But they don't choose. The agent doesn't choose when the player gets signed.
True.
The teams choose it. And it's the timing on that. And they got to line it up and get it. Either way, man, I think they did a good job for him because he got $3.3 million. I was expecting him to get $2 million or maybe even less.
Yeah, I'm thinking that and that's why I believe that he's not with the Raptors, because if he was with the Raptors, and this is why I'm explaining it in that sense, right? He got $3 million with Boston. That's not what he would have gotten if Toronto kept him. Toronto would have given him higher than that.
I don't know. We weren't even going to give him $3 million. I think you're absolutely wrong on all of this.
That's why they let him go.
Right? We were never going to pay him. We didn't. The writing was on the wall the whole time. The only reason why he was on our team last year is because he was on contract still.
Right, but if we're going to keep him, they would have had to pay higher. That's what I'm trying to show you in a sense, right? Yes,
I don't think that's true either. I think that we could have gotten him at $3 million, and he would have signed with us at $3 million because he did want to stay in Toronto. He did want to stay in Toronto. He was holding out to stay in Toronto, but Toronto told him, it's like, basically, we're not having any plans. We have no plans to bring him back. This is the truth. What's that?
The cap hit was bad on him, right? Because think about it, where we are right now. In order to keep Boucher, you were going to have to go even deeper into the cap.
They weren't going to do that.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, Neil, I got to keep moving. I'm at 20 minutes to 3 hours, and I want to finish the show on a reasonable time in the next little while. I feel like we're going in circles a little bit. Yeah. The Chris Boucher situation worked out for him. Trust me.
Definitely worked out for him. I agree with you.
Because he was going to be either he gets a spot or he's not. And he could have been very seriously worried that he wasn't even going to be playing in the NBA anymore going forward. Because that's the thing. Once again, I'm going to say this. Nothing's guaranteed, y'all. He could be one of the guys that's looking on the outside, looking in, because new players came in and took his spot this year in the draft. He could have easily been that. So he's lucky. He got $3.3 million. And he's on the Celtics right now.
I'm okay with the way the team is structured right now, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just tough because it's emotional, and you don't like letting go of players that are popular.
No, I want to let go.
Yeah. All right, Neil. I hope you have a good day at work, and everything's just awesome, man. I appreciate you, Blackhawk, for supporting the channel. You're an awesome friend and member of the channel. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much, Lex. Appreciate you as well, and the rest of the Raptor freaks.
Right on, man.
Hawks, I don't own you all.
That's all good, man. Well, Blackhawk, the Raptor Hawks, it's all good, man. You can call them that too. Either way, man, have a great weekend, and I hope I see you at the party we're gonna have later this month. Hopefully, August 28th.
28th, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta go to Blue Jays game on the 27th, and then
awesome.
So it's gonna be a busy week for me.
Well, Real Jerk, and you went to the Real Jerk the last time we were there, right? I believe you were there too.
No, I don't think we did.
Oh, you didn't come to Real Jerk at that time. Okay, you weren't part of that group. Yeah, well, I know you've come to a lot of our meet and greets before, so hopefully you can make this one.
I'll find a way.
Awesome. I'll let you guys know more of the finer details closer to the date. I appreciate you, Neil. Once again, man, have a great day. Let's go Raptors.
Let's go Raptors.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I have to respectfully disagree. I feel like Chris was in a really bad place where he could have actually fell out of the league. And in some ways, getting this spot with the Celtics is really, really lucky. In some ways, it's not lucky, but it's good. It's good that he got in there. Yeah. Yeah, Blackhawk for the win. There you go. There you go. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying he didn't just make it public. He just didn't make it public. It could be. I mean, there's a lot of internal discussions about playing time that happen. And honestly, we knew that the emphasis was on getting the young guys playing time if we're going to lose, because that's how we can get them better faster. And that was a whole part of like the conflict with Nick Nurse in his last year on the team, is that he wouldn't play the young guys over the older guys. And in some ways, Darko's just doing what the front office wanted them to do in playing Jonathan Mobo over Chris Boucher. It's that simple. It's like, in some ways, that's it right there. In some ways, Jonathan Mobo is the future. Chris is the past. And in some ways, we got to get Jonathan going as a young player, developing more and more. And that's just the sad truth. That's just the truth of it. And that's it right there. Wayne saying, explain it, Lexicon. Chris Boucher's exit was not about money. He's gone because he did not fit in the current roster. Speak out our opinion, okay, but stop GMing. Chris' time was up. Business move, freaks. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, it's a nostalgic attachment. It's an emotional attachment that's making this hard for some people right now. I get it. He's a popular player. People love him. And OG and Pascal, these people left, there was similar kind of stuff happening. There was a lot of second guessing the front office. Why did we let them go? We could have kept him. There was a lot of this, a lot of that. And that was the same thing. It's like, we shouldn't have traded Pascal. We should have invested in him. He'd be doing what he's doing for the Pacers for us. There's been a lot of that. Of hindsight's 2020, kind of looking back and stuff like that. Kaloy saying Chris is not a Darko player, plain and simple. I think that's exactly it. And they did try and coexist. There was a respect. There was a talking to. In some ways, Darko may have helped Chris develop even further as a player, even though they weren't really going to be having a long-term relationship. I think that Chris did play very good quality minutes when he got in. He was very, very effective. There were less games where Chris came out in the years with Darko where he was absolutely shit and he couldn't play because Nick took him out all of a sudden. No, there were more games where Chris came in and he was absolutely steady and consistent and gave us exactly what he offers as a player as far as offensive rebounding, hustle, making some threes, and doing stuff like that. And that's what we asked him to do, and Darko got him to a more consistent level. I would say that that's how Darko made him better. Because in some ways, you could make the argument that Chris Boucher's had some of his best playing quality years under Darko. He may have had more playing time and bigger stats in Tampa, but those weren't the best quality. There was a lot of shitty quality in those minutes that he played there, and he had to play a lot because nobody was there to play. But when he played for the Raptors under Darko, you're getting very good, potent quality in the minutes that he was coming out there and putting on the court. Does that make sense what I'm saying? If y'all see what I'm seeing as far as like that, because I say that last year, a lot of the Raptors had their career year last year, their best year ever as a professional. RJ did, Jakob did, Scotty didn't but kind of did. And I would even say Chris Boucher, to an extent, had one of his best professional career years last year because his quality was so good in the bursts when he was out there. He was very, very good when he was out there. There were some games where he wasn't good and he got benched for the rest of the game, but very much fewer than years past is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Blackhawk saying, "Hey, Carlo, I don't mean to sound stupid, but what is that for the win? A Darko player? A Darko player plays dogged defense first. This has been described to us. A Darko player plays very hard defense, and they're also a very team-oriented player that passes the ball. And that's the part where Chris gets messed up. He gets messed up a little bit on the first part too, because in some ways he's not a dogged defender at his position in the right ways, in certain ways that we need. We needed more post defenders like Jakob, Sandro Mamu. In some ways, Chris is not a very good post defender. He can hold his own to an extent, but he gets pushed around like Victor Wembanyama. And that's part of it. So a Darko player plays defense and plays all out on defense like we do. And they're also a team player that passes the ball around in his offensive system of 0.5 passing. So that's it right there. That's it right there. Let's see. Medved saying Chris isn't a great passer, isn't a high IQ player. He's more athletic, good rebounder, okay shooter, one-dimensional, doesn't fit in the style of play. Medved can see it. Medved can see it. I'm sorry, guys. He's just not a Darko player. Gary Trent wasn't either. And that's just how it went. That's just how it went. Kaloy saying the vet slot went to Temple. Yeah. And he utilizes it really, really well. I mean, some people would think like, why do we have Garrett? He's not going to play. There's so much he's doing for us, guys. And in some ways, the post-Masai Ujiri world for the Raptors, we need guys that can get respect for us in certain areas. And Garrett Temple garners respect for our team because he's played for so many different teams. He's had so many different teammates. He's played for so many different coaches. He's interacted with all the referees. And in some ways, having Garrett Temple on the bench to advocate in political ways for the Raptors on the court. Maybe he talks to the ref during the game. We get better calls because he's a respected community person in the NBA's community for a long time. And not only that, he's a great reference for the young players on affairs in the NBA to keep them in line as far as like, yeah, that's not a good idea, Rook. Don't do that. I know. Trust me, I'm Garrett Temple. That's part of it right there. It's part of it right there. Some people are saying, oh, well, you know what? why we just hire him as assistant coach? Because the man can still play physically, and in some ways, he is a reliable backup. You know, in some ways, he could be out there in case. You know, there were often times where Garrett Temple was playing with rookies last year, one vet with 4 rookies, and he's kind of keeping them together in garbage time and teaching them. So there is a value there. Yeah. And Blackhawks saying, thanks, Kaloy. I'm old. I'm so old. Oh, for the win. FTW means for the win. Yeah, for the win. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, why do you think they paid Garrett instead of Chris? It's not the money. It's the attitude. Love Chris, but it was time to move on. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Chris was a bad attitude. I don't think that's what it was. I think it's just that he didn't fit the system is what it is. Kaloy saying, I think I made that up anyways, Blackhawk. FTW for the win. I've seen that other places. Yeah, you had a brain freeze on that one. Medved saying he's a good player, but for Darko's 0.5 selfless offense, Chris doesn't fit it. He may do well in Boston because of their 3-point barrage. In some ways, he will add to that. And some of the things that he is not good at, they can cover up in certain ways with their weird trapping small man defense that Boston does. They can maybe cover up for not having a big. I don't know. Boston's going to be weird because they don't have nobody down low. Who's their center this year? I have no idea. Horford's gone. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. Who the fuck is going to play center for them? The Celtics are going to tank on purpose, and it may be by not having a center. That's maybe how they're going to try and lose on purpose. Kaloy saying, I love Chris, but I noticed that he would play so hot before the trade deadline and then cool off afterwards. This happened in past seasons too. And maybe they noticed that, and they're like, yeah, we're going to use all your 50 games before that. That could be it right there. G saying, Chris isn't a vet like that yet. Temple knows he will play limited minutes and knows his job is to mentor. Chris still has a motor, and he went to a team that he thinks may give him more time. I love Chris. Yeah. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. Well, I'm going to kind of expedite going through stuff because I really do want to get going through finishing up the stream. Wayne saying Carlo is correct. Chris does not fit now. In the past, he was okay, but for the future, we didn't need him. Chris Boucher is at the right team for Chris Boucher, not rocket science. He's at the right spot. Well, that's to be determined still, but we'll see. It may be a better spot than Toronto. That's for sure. Blackhawks saying, remember, when a player hits the market, who that player enters the market with affects their value. This is true, too. Neil's right, and that's kind of why the dominoes fall the way they do. Al Horford did matter in this situation with Chris. Al Horford did matter. Yeah, exactly. All right. G's saying a lot of things can be right at the same time. Yeah, that's true. So it doesn't fit in Darko's system, remained a professional and went to a team that he thought would be a better fit in. Yeah, I think that's exactly it right there. You nailed it on the head there, G. I think that's it. He was fine. He wasn't a problem. It's just he didn't fit. And the changes in the plans of what was happening were projected to happen like this. It could be this whole season, Chris knew that, and it was inevitable. Kind of like Siakam and Anunoby knew there's probably going to be another shoe that drops, and they're going to get traded. Chris probably is like, yeah, at the end of this contract, I'm probably done with the Raptors. I don't like it because I would like to stay with them. I'll talk to them, but I can see the writings on the wall. And he probably knew this was coming. And that's sad. In some ways, it's like a long goodbye. And that's tough to do. It's tough to do sometimes. A long goodbye. Yeah. Dunk for Wayne. You want to dunk for Wayne? We can do that. Sergeant Wayne Strainer, thank you for being the Sergeant at Arms for this channel. You got 84, which is a great year in the history of the world, 1984. Not a very good book, though. It's a good book, but it's this cautionary tale. Hopefully, we're not going towards that. Let's see. Kareem saying, I would follow Savannah Hamilton, but I think her thirst trapping would lure me into her DMs. My wife won't like that. I like this non sequitur just out of the blue. It's a good little palate cleanser here for some comedy. Sometimes you don't realize how athletic these athletes are, and we subject them to their respected sport. Grady doing his best Simone Biles flip and sticks the landing has to believe he's a gymnast. Nah, the man can flip around. I think he would have been a very good male cheerleader. I think that's what I've learned from Grady Dick's little acrobatics yesterday. Kaloy saying, yeah, I love being an underdog. This is added value in being a Raptors fan. Yeah, so do I. I always root for the underdog because the come up and the getting the success feels so much sweeter. It's easy to root for a juggernaut, a top team, an expected team to dominate. It's lazy. It's something that some weak ass fans do. Just jump from top team to top team every year. Oh, where's LeBron playing? I'm a LeBron fan, so I just go with his team. There's a lot of that. No, rooting for a team that has to really earn it and go through the hard way to get it. That's so much more rewarding. And that's why 2019 felt so good, guys. That's why it did right there. I wonder how things will change when we have another international team like Mexico or another Canadian province. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that direction's going in that direction right now. In some ways, our relationship in the NBA is precarious in some ways just because of the rising issues with Donald Trump and the presidency and stuff like that. I think the NBA expanding is less likely to go outside the NBA right now because of the isolationist kind of fucked up anti-international policies of the United States overall. I mean, it'd be a real headache to have a Mexico City team all of a sudden in this Trump world, right? Seriously. And adding another Canadian team may not be ready. So I think it's very likely if they do expand next, it's going to be Seattle and Las Vegas. And they won't go international on the next one because I think in some ways we got to fix the American politics before the United States goes back and embraces more exchanges in business with the international world, because they got to kick this guy out or move past the MAGA moment that's going on in the United States before business internationally gets better. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew from Monique. I've needed your cutoff. Good to see you, Bo. I'm glad you made it. Wayne's saying that's the one point you're advocating that's wrong. Seymour's point is another wrong point. IQ and RJ came from New York. Knicks still beat our ass. Sorry, the simplistic reasoning I have to call out. Yeah, worrying about Boucher taking our playbook to the Celtics, they can just watch us and kind of get everything they need to get just from watching tape of us. So, yeah. Chriscom's here. Good to see Chriscom. Am I the only one who thinks the Raps should have kept Boucher over Temple? This is an interesting idea. Boucher is a champion and can still play in Canadian. I can't say I know everything Temple does, but maybe I'm being biased. No, Temple does a lot. Seriously. And in some ways, he's very much a trusted person who works with Darko. You can really tell. This is the third year of Darko, and Temple will be on the team for his third year. And there's a lot to that. In some ways, Darko really highly values Garrett Temple, and that's a big part of it. In some ways, there's probably not the same kind of working relationship between Boucher and Darko. So that's part of it right there. That's it right there. Yeah, let's see. Wayne saying, Lexicon, I'm referring to you advocating Boston tanking this season on purpose in previous comment. They might suck, but not on purpose. Well, I would say that the Philadelphia 76ers did it somewhat on purpose last year. And in some ways, I could see Boston manipulating things with missing games and maybe putting people on the shelves to not try as hard. Because in some ways, the Celtics fans will want this, and they're not going to be upset because they're going to want to try and aim high for the draft lottery next year because they know they're going to have a down year because Tatum's out. And I mean, in some ways, we can all look at this differently. We'll just see how it plays out this season. And if it's something like what I said now, we'll come back and look at it later. But if it isn't, we'll come back and look at it later and I'll say I was wrong. But I really don't think the Celtics are trying to win this year. I really don't. Chriscom's saying, I'm not letting CMB take a game off that he could have played. He was the number 9 pick and not second round. I believe he did have an injury concern. Southpaw Green sounds good to me. Southpaw Draymond Green. I think that he was a little bit hurt. It may have been also, he kind of let the cat out of the bag at the beginning of Summer League that he wasn't in shape. He said he had quit playing since the tournament. And when he played, the last time he played for South Carolina was the last time he was actively out on a court doing anything. He may not have been working in the period of time between his college career and getting drafted by the Raptors. So it sounded like he was out of shape slightly and maybe not totally ready for the first game. And that was the abductor injury because he admitted it in an interview during the beginning of Summer League. I haven't picked up a basketball since I played for South Carolina. So that may be why right there is that he wasn't totally up to physical conditioning to play at that moment. And he needed more training camp with the Summer League in the ballroom to be ready for the second game. I think that's what it was. Shaq Lindsay saying Michael Beasley said the best offensive player he's ever seen with the exception to Kobe is Brandon Ingram. I like that. I like that comment. That sounds very, very interesting right there. I like that. Monique saying Mamu's comments to Tempo still got me. Yeah, they asked Sandra Mamu because the Toronto Tempo is doing a campaign where they're asking different people who they think what Canadian icon they would bring to the first Toronto Tempo game. And they asked Sandro Mamu, and he said Flavor Flav. I don't know if he knows that Flavor Flav's American, not Canadian, but that's fine. He's from Georgia. And I think it's a great answer. I think Flavor Flav would be awesome at the Toronto Tempo game, even if he's not a Canadian icon. But yeah, forgive Sandro Mamu for not knowing Flavor Flav is not Canadian. That was pretty funny, Mo. It was, wasn't it? It was pretty funny. Let's see. Chris comes saying ESPN has the Jays number 6 in the power rankings, but they have the second best record in the league. No surprises. There you go. So there you go. There you go. Chriscom is given the revealing that the Blue Jays are getting the Canadian discount on their end too. That, you know, they may have the second best record in the whole entire league. They're still ranked 6th in their power rankings. There you go. Chriscom just gave me some evidence right there. And Mo's saying I rarely read ESPN. Screw them. There you go. That's the right way to be. You're exactly right. I mean, I'll go look at it right now, and I'll tell you, yeah, they're giving a grade. The Boucher signing to the Boston Celtics is an A. They're giving him an A. Oh, I mean, I think it's a good move for them. I'm not saying it's wrong, but man, if the Raptors had gotten Chris Boucher in this situation like this from the Celtics, they probably give him a C- for the trade, just because that's how it is. Just like how it is. That's it. This is Blackhawks point right here. 41 million versus 340 million. Are we really wondering why ESPN doesn't cater to this Canadian sports team? That's not what I'm asking for. That's not what I'm asking for. I don't want them. They don't need to do all the cover stories and shit like that. But they should be covering us as a part of the NBA because they should know and do their jobs. That's it right there. Blackhawks saying Vince is not changing the narrative. He always said he was going to graduation for his family. It's said and done. Move on, people. That's the thing, though. He's trying to change history by putting his story more in the forefront now that he's in good graces and trying to change the whole thing about it. He is trying to change it. The Raptors fans are calling him out for it and saying, nah, you're trying to change the facts of what happened. And in some ways, he's trying to make himself look good after the fact. It doesn't change anything. He shouldn't have gone. And a lot of people internally on the Raptors, including his teammates, believe that at that moment. He shouldn't have gone. And he can make up all the poppycock he wants about why he went and why he should go gone. It's all horse crap as far as I'm concerned. He could have put it off and gone the other time. He could have gone to the next graduation. There's all kinds of ways he could have done this better, honestly. It's absolutely a fail by Vince Carter, and I blame him for losing that game because that was the most important game in the Raptors' history at that time. Is the most important game in his career. It was the most important game in Alvin Williams' career. It was a lot of people's important game to them, Jerome Williams, and he failed his teammates. He failed our team. He failed our city. He failed our country. And that's the way I look at it. He can put his own context on it and say, I was just fulfilling a promise to my mom that education's priority and that I'll make sure I graduate. Well, you could have graduated like a month later or something like that at the next UNC ceremony and walked then. In some ways, why the fuck are you walking years into your NBA career? Seriously. Oh, because you did your degree while you were in school in the NBA still and you made it up? Okay. Well, that means you waited to do your degree there. You could have waited to do the graduation. So it's an absolute horseshit excuse. And the fact that he's trying to change history to make everybody, feel bad for him or say, it's like, it's insulting to me because the damn truth is the truth. And he can try and change the narrative afterwards, but it's not going to work. The people that know. And we're going to continue to say it. Most saying WStream W Vibes. There's my cutoff right there. And I'm over 3 hours. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Free Crew strong forever. Just help me limit the comments. I appreciate that. I need to do the classic card. I got a couple other segments to do. Blackhawks saying, when I say Toronto has to be damn good, I'm specifically referring to the city, not the team. Casey just can't get enough of here. He's begging to come back. I don't think he's begging. I think that he knows a good franchise and a good city, and he enjoyed his time here, even if he got fired. And he would love working for quality. He'd love to be in a good system. I mean, I don't think he's begging. I don't think he's begging. All right, I got another one of these calls. Let's go ahead and do it. Hello, caller. You're on the air. You're on the Raptor Freak Thursday Think Tank. They hung up because they knew there was the wrong thing. They've called a radio station. They hung up. That was for Vinay, just so y'all know. Seymour saying, Wayne, call in. I want to hear your takes, man. Respectfully clear the air. Yeah, Wayne Strainer calls the show. He could definitely clear the air. He has access to the number if he wants to call, but it's late. I want to get done. We've had some good calls today. Trevor J saying Aaliyah Edwards was traded to Connecticut Sun for J.C. Sheldon and the right to swap the first-round pick. That's a player on my fantasy team that was playing for Washington, but now she's on Connecticut. So she's going from one bad team to another bad team, basically. Wayne saying, Lexicon, you have to come to the correct decision about Casey instead of Bobby for president. Raptor freaks, we need to listen first. Listen to what Fuckface outlined. Yeah. I mean, I think more I've thought about it, I don't like Bobby taking the president job because he's so good at GM. And I think that we need to keep quality in positions. And moving him up the team president may fuck up our GM because Dan Tolzman may not be a good GM in some ways. Think about that. Seriously, that's part of it. Kareem saying Jay's keeping the summer alive. I love that. Wayne said we don't have to agree with what we're hearing, but we have to listen and then we opine. Exactly. Thinking and giving opinions before knowing the criteria is just useless. Yapping. Believe a fuckface or not. All right. I'm with Wayne on his hard-nosed stuff. Let's see. Seymour saying, shit, I might be 4 quarters, but Wayne bringing the overtime. Salute. I like that. Seymour saying, I think Lex is right in the Blackhawk call. Wash your damn hands. I like that. Stay positive, folks. Block out all the negativity. Let them sink in their own feelings. Live life. I love that. That's great words of wisdom from the Sheriff Seymour Pape. And Wayne saying he's at work. He can't call in. He'll talk on Discord later. All right, let me review my tabs before we get out of here. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Y'all, listen, there's a lot of American pizza companies up here. You could get Domino's. You could get Pizza Hut. You could get Little Caesars. Fuck all that shit. Go 2-for-1 pizza, guys. 2-for-1 Pizza is headquartered here in Toronto. It operates across several provinces. Ownership is Canadian, but the ingredient sourcing varies by location. More often than not, it should be Canadian, though. 10 out of 10 on the Canada score. 2-for-1 Pizza. If you want a pizza slice, go there. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Going through the tabs real quick. I don't see. Oh, happy birthday to DeMar DeRozan. Once again, he is a GOAT. He's one of the most important Raptors in the history of the Raptors. 36 years old today out of Compton, California. We love you, DeMar. You are still a Sacramento King as of right now. But who knows? They were talking about moving you, but it didn't happen. So we'll have to see where you are at the beginning of the season. We love DeMar DeRozan. He is a GOAT. If you don't like DeMar, what are you doing with your life? You're not a Raptors fan, obviously, if you don't like DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, it looks like there's a hello and welcome interview with Sandra Mamu that Trevor just posted in the Discord server right there. Interesting stuff. All right, I guess we're done, guys. So, oh yeah, the classic card. Let's do that real fast, real quick. All right, let me get one that's good and easy and fast so we can get out of here quick. All right, full name answer. Don't half-ass it. Write that full name. It's easy. You can see who that is. Full name answer, get the classic card for today. Get the points for today's classic card. Who is this? I guess this is an old head. Make sure you're live. Hit that live button and catch up. Some of y'all may be behind. Sometimes that happens. But yeah, if you're on time, you can get this classic card of the day. What player is that? This should be pretty easy, guys. You should know who this is. This player for the Jazz. What player is this? Full name answer, please. And you'll get the classic card points. Let's see if somebody gets it. Mike Conley's right. Smooth's got it. Reggie's got it. That is Mike Conley, the grizzled vet, the longtime NBA veteran. It's too easy. 50 points for Smooth on the classic card. Mike Conley is the card for today. Yeah, all right, y'all. Well, thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. A long Lexathon, 3-hour extravaganza. The calls were fantastic. I appreciate everybody calling in. They called in today. Great calls. I appreciate everybody. I like the 4 quarters with Seymour segment. Hopefully we'll do that in the future, Sheriff. I like that. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow's a Friday freak out. We'll see what old Lex is freaking out on. And I'll say this right now, since it's DeMar's birthday today, we're doing Saturday Share Love Club for DeMar DeRozan on Saturday morning. We have not done one for him yet. And, well, we're going to do one for DeMar. So DeMar DeRozan, Saturday Share Love Club, Saturday morning. We'll see what I'm freaking out about tomorrow. I'm sure maybe it'd be something from ESPN, actually. All right, let's go, Raptors. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel. Membership has its privileges. You get to call the show.